Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everyone. Welcome to KerbSide Collections with me, Adam Ritchie, a podcast about physical media collectors for physical media collectors. Thanks for tuning in once again to another show interview episode that I have with a new friend I've made just today, strangely enough, Richard Johnson. Welcome to the show, Richard. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Doing very well. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, look, I appreciate you coming on, especially at such short notice. Just to tell the listeners, I saw you post in one of our Facebook forum today because you've never posted your collection before, and when I was first looking, I was thinking this is a humble brag, but then I kept looking at your collection. I was just fascinated. It's massive. It is an incredibly impressive collection, and I'm going to probably for the first time with this episode accompany this episode drop with some photos of Richard's collection because it is that special. Yeah. So look, honestly, you have a look on your face like, is it? But yeah, it really is. It's
So I come into it and it feels normal to me.
yeah, of
Get the
course.
awe until somebody's like, whoa, and they're here looking. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it's
Yeah,
something.
Leah, like I've said before on this show, like I have a weird kink. I love looking at other people's collections, and I think you get to learn a lot about people about what they collect, especially when it comes to movies. You see what their personality's like, I guess, by the movies they love. But honestly, looking at your collection, it's still going to be very hard to determine what your person because you have literally almost
I,
everything.
I was just gonna ask you, wow, like I have every genre. Like
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what you're gonna gather from this.
Be hard to determine, won't it? Yeah. So, I mean, look. First of all, I'll get you to tell our listeners where in the world you're located.
I'm located in Vermont in the USA. I'm on the East Coast. It's sandwiched between New Hampshire and New York. When you go, where's Vermont? That's
Mhm.
us.
Yep. On the way to, I know, look, obviously, because I grew up and watch a lot of American stuff. Vermont is like a tourist spot, like a holiday spot where people go and stay away and like.
It's only so there is a lot of tourism here for skiing because we
Mm,
have a lot of snow. That's
right.
why it's the tourist spot.
Oh,
Oh yeah, we have lots of mountains.
okay. I didn't realize that. I thought it was kind of more like a like stay away in a log cabin. Like, isn't there some horror movie set there, like for
So
that
one
type
of
of
the things I
reason?
like about it, and one of the reasons why I've always chose to live here, because my family goes back here 13 generations,
Mm,
is the fact that we don't have the natural disasters. We have the
yes.
wind, the winds are blocked by the mountains.
Yep.
We have snow, which is bad enough if you live here and not a skier. And we
Mm.
have low level flooding. I just make sure I always live on a hill.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's easy to keep a collection here and keep it in good order and safe.
Keep it
And I like
safe. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. That's some good thinking. Right. So Vermont, and before the show, you said you are moving across to Oregon. So
Oregon.
over to the west side,
Going to
Portland,
Portland,
or
Oregon, which is
yeah,
yeah, Portland exact.
nice.
What's strange about moving to Portland is that it is almost exactly like here.
Yes, it's a
Um,
green. It's a green state, right? Like it's.
well, the temperature is a little warmer. Our winter
Mm,
months are really rain months out there.
yes. Yep.
We're going to drop from like right now. I'm sitting outside with literally a foot of snow, and we're going to drop
Wow.
to an inch and a half of snow, which is amazing.
Better option.
And there's a huge movie a culture out
Culture.
there, I guess. Like
Yeah.
there's 300 like over 300 films have been filmed in Portland or around the area.
Oh, okay.
I was learning there's over 60 movie theaters in Portland, which is really nice because I'm in
Oh,
an
that's
area where
great.
I have to drive an hour and a half to the movies, and
Oh,
that's
wow.
oh yeah, it's awful, and I'm a big movie guy
Yeah, yeah.
clearly, and I like to keep up with current movies, so I do an Oscar party every year too,
Oh,
and so
excellent.
I try to go and see them,
Hmm.
and that makes it rather tough where I'm living. They also have a lot of stores out there where they sell boutique titles, so they're selling your
Yeah.
Arrow videos and your imprint videos and your Criterion collections, and these stores are one store I walked in was huge, absolutely huge. It was like the size and a half of what our Blockbuster used to be, and I don't know how our
Wow.
Blockbuster compared to the rest of the world's, but it was pretty
Yeah.
big. So
Yeah.
I was kind of blown away. And they also not only do they have the specialties and the DVDs, the Blu-rays, the 4Ks, but they
Mm.
also have VHS still, and they have records and CDs and tape cassettes and 8 tracks and
Yeah.
video discs and laser discs. So like every format, they had beta tapes. Like I couldn't believe the quantity and the quality of stuff that was actually there.
That's awesome. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I don't have a lot of that where I am. In Australia, we literally have one store that sells a brick and mortar store that sells physical media. Like I guess it's an equivalent of your Best Buy. Like it sells.
Well, we Best Buy did away with their movie sections last year.
Yeah, we do know what happened to Best Buy. That was made worldwide news in the community. Best Buy giving up the ghost on selling physical media, but people keep trying to put the scare that our JB Hi-Fi are going to do the same, but I don't think they will. Being that they're the only ones, I think they do pretty well from it. So,
I was reading that Walmart did a big deal and that they are doing most of the media releases.
they
And
are,
our
yeah,
Walmart stores, at least locally, have seemed to have picked up in the media releases. I'm surprised at how much you can get there.
yeah.
They don't have any of the boutique stuff, but
Mm.
well, A24s they do, but
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
that's just started. Yeah.
So, I know we were talking a little bit before the show, but I'm interested in how because do you know how many you have in your collection? And like how big it
I
is?
have over 20,000. It's a lot. I keep a Google file doc spreadsheet.
Yep, yep.
And I have the information from the titles to the spine numbers to the years to the type of to the region codes because I actually have an all region
Ah,
player,
yes,
so I
yep.
can play all 9 regions and then all the 3 Blu-ray regions, and of course 4K is pretty much unlocked. But so it really widens the spread of being able to get media that honestly couldn't be gotten here in the US because a lot
Mm,
of our shows that everything is tied up in copyright, and often
yeah,
different countries have different copyright entanglements. So some
yes.
countries can have stuff that we can't. So yeah,
You know, I mean, most collectors that would listen to this show, and I'm speaking for myself, I do a lot of we in Australia we have to do a lot of importing. So most people do have a multi-region player for especially US Blu-rays. Some studios don't lock them, even though they say they do. They will still play. But yeah, you kind of have to if you want to get stuff at a reasonable price.
we struggle to get the multi-region players here. They don't sell them
Ah,
easily. Where
right.
I feel like the UK does, because that's where I got mine
Yeah.
from.
Oh,
But
okay. That's interesting. They're pretty easy to come by in Australia. I mean, it's just really one brand that sell a Blu-ray player, but I know you can get them modded. There's people here that you can send your machine to them and they'll chip them and they'll send them
yep,
back. Yeah, and that's yeah. But if you do a firmware update, then it kind of ruins what they've modded. So you kind of wasted your money. So you've got to basically turn the internet off on them. But yeah, that's really fascinating that they're hard to come by in America. That's really fascinating. I guess that's kind of leading me up to the question of with 20,000 in your collection, how are you getting them across to Oregon? Because that's literally from one, for any Australians listening, that's basically like transporting 20,000 movies from Sydney to Perth. That's a big move.
I mean it is a big move, and I have other stuff to move with it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm honestly, we have 2 people that are going to help drive U-Hauls, so we're gonna have a couple of
Uh,
U-Hauls, and I
going
have
on a road
one
trip.
person that has a CDL license, and they can drive a big tractor trailer if we need to. I
Okay.
don't foresee it going that much because even when I pack up the videos, like I said, it's under 200 boxes, and I try to keep them, I try to keep them all very close and same size. And
Yeah.
like I was telling you earlier, I have a friend that works at our local McDonald's that can get me the French fry boxes that house the bags of French fries. And when they're done with
Mhm.
them, and I can pack them, and they'll go 3 layers high, and I don't do that with the really high, and my higher, more valuable stuff. I'm careful with, more
Yeah.
careful with the stuff that are steel books and tins, and like the Disney tins could dent. I'm really
Yeah.
careful with that. I
Yeah.
create packing lists for each box to itemize and keep myself in order. I also have a
Mhm.
diagram of where they go in the collection so that I can go back and just put them right back into the same spots when I
That's
get there.
awesome. That's amazing.
I'm OCD. It's pretty bad.
No, I get it. Okay. In your photos this morning, I kind of noticed what really attracted me is that okay, I'll start again. When I first started looking really close is when I come across your Alfred Hitchcock cabinet, because I'm a big Hitchcock
Yeah.
fan. And I also have that House of Hitchcock with a lenticular cover box set. It's like my
Very
favorite
cool.
box set I owned. But you had this other thing that sits on top that's like in film tins, which is
That came from the UK. Oh,
really? Are they
yeah, that's
DVDs or Blu-rays or?
their DVDs.
Yeah, it's just such a stunning looking collection. And
They are beautiful. I
yeah,
love that show.
yeah, Well, yeah, I mean, Hitchcock's my favorite director, so I'm attracted to anything of his that I see. So yeah, that was
I hope you
great.
just picked up the imprint set that came out from the Alfred Hitchcock Presents
I
from the
I will
80s.
be. Yeah, I absolutely will be getting those. Yeah, I need to.
I just got it. It's pretty wonderful.
Oh, did you? Well, they're limited to
Yeah.
only 1,500 copies too. So I was waiting for a sale, thinking I'll wait for a sale, but I think I might need to get it a little bit sooner because more people are getting it than I thought would be. Yeah, that's the one.
It's so
So,
pretty.
so yeah, yeah. So do you order directly from the imprint site to get those?
Yes.
Yeah, because
I
you get free
just
shipping
barely
over a
learned
certain
that
amount, right?
there were other sellers that you could get them from, but because
Ah,
I'm from here, I have to rely on that's got a limited edition and it's a limited run and how many and do I need this? And
mm,
yes, I do.
yeah. They do a lot of good, like you were talking about before we started recording. They do a lot of TV, as you know. So I know Australia and the UK are the biggest sellers of TV physical media on the planet. So it's actually dying out everywhere else. So if you do want TV, I think you need to come to Australia or the UK.
That's fair. That's probably
Yeah,
true.
yeah. But yeah, I've got it on good authority that Australia is really picking up the slack when
It,
it comes to TV.
it was interesting because that's the where Disney pulled out first, and I was so confused when that happened.
Yeah, that was to drive. So just for anyone listening, if any of this conversation is sounding age, we're recording this in early January, so this episode might drop by mid 2025. Well, I'm saying that because hopefully by the time this episode airs, Disney might wake up and start selling physical media back here. But yeah, no, they won't do that. But yeah, they've done that just to drive subscribers to Disney Plus, pretty much. That's their whole reason.
And Disney's really struggling because they can't seem to get a grip on it, and I don't understand. Because in the 80s, I'm a big Disney fan. Like that was the start of my collection because of my grandmother.
Yeah.
And I know that when Michael Eisner ran it with the Disney Channel coming out, there was like 13 new scripted programs, and then they used all old films. And then those 13
Okay.
scripted programs, they still released individually volumes to VHS so that the people that didn't have the product could
Mm.
still spend money on the product.
Yeah. Yeah. They still made
And
money. Yeah.
I don't understand why that that whole plan, that whole release plan and how they did the metrics, why that doesn't work now by just using the same plan. Like they have original scripted stuff, they should be releasing it, and then they should be putting it out on disc format so that everybody who
Yeah.
doesn't have the product can access it. Like, do you double dip money that way? It makes no sense not to.
It's a strange setup what they've done because they care so little about physical media that they gave the business side of it over to Sony to run,
I
which
know.
is and
It's
Sony are doing very
crazy.
good work with it, but Sony are doing great with it because I mean I've heard rumors and I heard them from two I've heard them from a few sources that Disney actually had quite a few 4Ks in the bank that they've restored movies
Yeah, I've
that
heard
they've
that
kept
too.
in the bank and we just had no interest in releasing them. But now Sony are on board, and that's why now we're seeing Signs and The Sixth Sense and Con Air's coming out, as well as Armageddon and things like that. So that's all thanks to Sony, which is strange. I mean,
What bothers me though is I don't think Disney gave them, just gratis status to go in and grab what they
no,
want. I think they
no,
still
they didn't.
control it.
They do. Yeah, it's like, well, you. I think they're allowing Sony to take the risk for the losses if they lose, and
Now, I
like
don't know if you
vinyl.
remember in the early 2000s, Disney actually released rights. They gave rights to Anchor Bay to release some
Okay,
titles, specialty titles. And so
right.
these old Disney movies suddenly started to come out on VHS and DVD. So
Mm,
you had Spaceman and King Arthur's Court and Candle Shoe and Condor Man and Watcher in the Woods and Return to Oz. And they kept bringing some of those back. And that was some of the first DVD
mm,
copies. And they were doing special stuff for them. So Return to Oz had a Faruja Bulk interview, and
right.
Watcher in the Woods had the alternate ending. Like there's so much stuff that they did by allowing Art House to release, because that was kind of what it was. It was like an Art House release.
Yeah, okay.
I don't
That's odd.
understand.
Sorry, are you there?
Yeah, oh, I'm here. I
Oh,
thought you were going to ask me a question, so it's like, oh, I'll slow back down.
oh no, sorry. No, sorry. I was kind of half in thought and I can't remember what I was going to ask, to be honest. But I think I was just saying that I wasn't aware of that. So it's fascinating the way Disney run their business, and then they're saying that their streaming channel is losing money. Well, if they stop releasing so much content,
You would get more money that way. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah, of
don't
course.
I don't
But
understand.
I don't get it
I
either.
also
Like,
have this fear, and it goes off a bunny trail, but it definitely promotes physical media a little bit. I have
mm,
this fear that we're going to go back to the way it was in the mid 80s. So I remember that there were TV shows that I saw as a little kid that when I
mm-hmm.
got into my teens, I realized I hadn't seen, and they weren't in reruns anywhere. They were just
Oh,
gone.
yeah, yeah,
So unless
yeah,
somebody had them on a VHS,
mm,
you couldn't get them.
yeah,
And now the way this is, it's really hard to hook a VHS up player and still
mm,
get Disney Plus.
yeah,
So
yeah.
all or any streaming service for that matter. So all of these programs, when servers get full or they're not popular anymore and they pull
Yes.
them,
Yep.
they're gone.
They
Like
just
you
dump them.
won't have them. I'm
Yeah.
so hesitant to fall in love with a streaming service because I have this fear it's going to be gone and then I'm not going to see it. And you know, why
Yeah.
put myself through that stress again? And then
No, no, you go.
whoop,
Yeah, you're right. No, I
I
was
was going
gonna
to say
just,
then my other fear is the fact that you can edit movies at will. So if all
yeah.
of a sudden content isn't what they deem is socially acceptable currently, they can just flip it
Yes.
and it's gone. It's just gone.
A good example of
Um,
that is as a well advertised example. I actually watched Splash yesterday. I haven't because I hadn't seen Splash since I was a kid. And as it's well known now, they extended her hair to cover her butt
correct.
as she's running into the
Yep,
water now. But later on in the movie, you see her boobs, which I just
correct.
found that's that's weird. That's weird as shit. Like what? How does that make any sense? Like
And this
it's
brings up a good
bizarre.
point, another good point, especially about Disney Plus. And if I'm going to rant about Disney, all those movies from the 80s, like Splash 2, they're just
Mm.
gone.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have they don't admit to them. And it's
Lost to
like
the wind.
Encino Woman, just gone.
Yeah. Encino
Or
Woman.
yeah.
I never knew
Oh,
that. Yeah. Well, there you go.
well,
And
our TV
that's
movies came to VHS over there. So Parent Trap
yeah,
3,
yeah.
Parent Trap 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably have a recollection of seeing those, but I would never would have watched them at that age. I would have felt like I was too cool to watch those back in the 90s or something.
It's
In my
there.
teen years. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
that's
I didn't have TV until 1994 myself. I would watch anything I could get to.
yeah, so yeah, you were saying a bit before the show as well, like what's the reason for that? Like how come you didn't have TV?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, my father was a farm kid that was born in the 40s,
Okay.
and his idea of fun was radio shows on tape cassette.
Hmm?
So I got to grow up with Abbott and Costello and The Shadow and all of that,
Ah, okay.
on tape. So we'd listen to the tapes, we'd play games on Sunday night. On
Right.
top of that, my parents were also in a religious sect called the Jehovah's Witnesses,
Ah, okay.
and they like to limit a lot of outside ideas,
Hmm?
and a lot of that stems from television. So
Yes.
I got to have TV when I went to my grandmother's. So I
Mm.
went to my grandmother's as often as I possibly could, and she
Hmm.
had one of those really big satellite dishes starting around 1982, and she started taping everything for the quote unquote grandkids. So I could go there,
Wow.
and she kept it all in a book, all organized on tape by tape, and we could go
Yep.
through the book and we could pick out things, and we could watch TV or we could watch something that was on. Now back then it wasn't like there was a lot of channels. So even with
Yeah,
satellite, I
no,
bet
yeah.
she only had like 20 channels tops.
Yeah.
Uh, and her main thing she kept on for us was the Disney Channel, hence my attachment to Disney, really.
Yeah, yeah.
But I got to watch a lot of classic movies, a lot of Doris Day movies, a lot of old Hollywood because Grandma liked movies, and she would smuggle me movies that my parents would never let me watch, like It's a Wonderful Life or
Oh,
Who
wow.
Framed Roger Rabbit. Like when you think Jehovah's Witnesses don't like holidays, so It's a Wonderful Life was definitely a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
And to
yeah,
this day, it's
yes,
one of
it
my
is.
favorites. But I saw it at like 8 years old because I saw it at my grandmother's, and she would say, "I'm going to show you this, but you can't tell your parents." And so she would smuggle me programming, and it was great.
Poor
Um,
grandmother. That's great.
my my first TV show that I became attached to was from 1987 called Rags to Riches because it
Hmm.
was the first TV show. Grandma would tape every episode, and when I got to go to her house during the week, I could watch them.
Yeah.
So that's the first series I really got to see all of.
Yep.
And then she started taping the Charmings and did the same thing with the Charmings. And so I had access to a lot of one-off TV shows that no one remembers because
Yeah.
grandma happened to find them fascinating and that they were kid appropriate. So I have all
Wow.
these attachments to weird shows.
So is that would that stem to the reason you collect physical media? Because I mean, I guess you had that physical tape when you went to your grandmother's, and now and you missed
So
out
I
on TV. So
I first got a
Who do you want to
TV in
message?
1994.
sorry, just butting in.
I knew something happened. It was like I first got TV in 1994 and a VCR. My father was at the end of his life. He had had a lot of strokes, and he
Mm,
finally gave in because he could do nothing physical. So he finally gave in to let us get a TV and a VCR. And as
hmm.
soon as I had access to them, I started recording
Yep.
because I didn't know if I was going to go back to having no TV after he passed. I didn't know
Yeah.
what was going to happen. I wanted to have the stockpile. At least I had a VCR. I
Yeah.
could access it like Grandma did.
Hmm.
And so I taped everything and anything I could get my hands on that I had remote interest in.
Yeah. Okay.
So
That's
really, my collection started in 1994, and my heyday I had 8,000 VHS tapes, which I'm down to 2,000 now.
what did you do with the other
Well,
6,000?
eventually I had to get rid of like there were a lot of them were taped off TV, and as I got perfect
Mm,
quality copies on DVD, I
yeah.
no
Okay.
longer saw the need to hang on to them. Like I had
Hmm.
every I Love Lucy episode because Nick at Night did these block party summers, and they were doing
Oh
them in
yeah. Yeah.
order. Like, and I had just tapes. I had I Love Lucy and the Munsters and the Addams Family and the
Mm,
Waltons and like just piles and Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. I was a newer show that I got sucked into, and Christie and Early Edition, and I think it was just the fact that it was a new world and I could just watch everything. And
mm,
then when my father passed and we ended up moving back into an area that didn't have cable, my mom asked me if there was one thing I wanted. And I said, just don't let me go back not having TV. Well,
yeah.
she allowed us to get a brand new little 18-inch satellites dish. It was these little mini
Okay.
satellite dishes from Dish. At that point, it was Dish Now, no, DirecTV we had it from.
Oh yeah.
And we installed that, and I had DirecTV from 1995 on, and we didn't, because of our location, we didn't get local channels, so they
All
gave
right.
us West Coast channels. So I had
Ah.
the East Coast and West Coast packet, so I could actually watch two shows that were on at the same time and record them at different times.
Oh
It
wow.
was great. And then
Yeah.
that just fueled my madness. And I really thought at some point in my life I would go back to not having TV. And honestly,
Mm.
that's never happened. It was an unwarranted fear that never came true, but instead left me with my collection.
An amazing collection. Yeah. Yeah. Like you could. Well, honestly, at that point, you could nearly open up your own rental store if you were into that. But yeah.
If I could part with the disc and let people actually touch
Yeah,
them.
exactly. Yeah, I don't let people borrow mine. Are you a lender of movies, or do you?
If you are valuable enough to me that I will lend you a movie, you get
Mm,
instructions with the disc. You get
yeah.
learn how to handle a disc properly. You don't get the original case. I have lender cases. Very rare do I lend them out. I usually make them either watch here or I'll
Hmm.
say go put it in the computer and go copy yourself a copy. I'm not going
Okay.
to let you let you just take it. And
Yeah.
if it's something that is not replaceable, it doesn't leave the premises.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
have, sadly, there's a lot of movies that I wouldn't have even thought would ever have gone out of print that are just gone. And so
Bananas,
I'm
hey.
like, why is this gone? And why is this gone? And
Mm,
that's rare. Great. And I have multiples. Like this isn't one or two titles. This is a couple hundred. So
yeah.
it really depends on what it is. And then I have this whole catalog of stuff that's not been released that I have
Hmm.
access through friends and such. And those are, those discs remain here,
Yeah.
and they only get watched here. Like I have a copy of
I
Meet the Monkeys, which nobody knows what that
oh,
is. It's a Disney movie
meet
with Vanna White.
meet the who? Sorry.
Oh, Meet the Munchies. It's a
Oh, okay.
1986 Disney movie, one of those that they were going to make into a TV series that never did, like Brand New Life. So with
Okay.
Barbara Eden, I they had a lot of them. The Parent Trap 3 and 4 was supposed to be that.
Hmm.
They were well, 100 Lives of Blackjack Savage was supposed to be that. The new Davy
Yeah.
Crockett's kind of did. The new Absent Minded Professor with Harry Anderson, that kind of did. All these one
Okay.
offs that nobody remembers. Sky
No.
High, not the Disney movie from later on, but the one about the kids with the grandfather.
Yeah. That's.
I
Yeah. I
know a
mean,
lot
I.
about Disney, but I'm not just
Yeah.
Disney, so I don't want to give you that impression.
No.
But
I was
my
going to
because
say.
my base collection was Disney, and that's where a lot of the love stems from. So I know a lot, particularly about the company.
I've got a lot of nostalgia for that as well, I suppose, with your nan with your grandmother taping all that stuff for you. Is that a big part of that?
I think so. It was
Yeah.
I was exposed to a lot of it, and I learned to love all these old movies that nobody had ever heard of. So
Mm,
like from Herbie the Love Bug and Escape to Witch Mountain to
yep.
Candle Shoe to
Yep.
to the lesser known stuff. So like I have Dr. Sin alias the Scarecrow or Hans Brinker the Silver Skates or
Yeah.
my favorite Kurt Russell movie is called Guns in the Heather, and nobody's
Wow.
heard of that.
Never heard
Uh,
of it.
yeah, it's also known as Spy Busters. It's got like
Okay.
a couple of titles that are around there. Don't know why. Love this movie. It's about Kurt Russell plays a, basically a spy. He gets thrust
Hmm.
into this world of spies because of his brother that he never wanted to, and it's a great. It starts off I think it's English, not Ireland. Either way, it's a great movie.
Is that a pre-Snake Plissken
And I
film?
think it's 67.
Oh wow. Then okay. That is early. He must. How old's
Yeah,
Kurt Russell? Kurt Russell is. Was he born in the 50s or 40s?
no, I think it's in the 60s. Well, his first movie is the one about the Scoutmaster with Fred McMurray.
Okay.
Follow Me, Boys. There it is. I'm pretty sure that was his first.
Yeah, just looking up when he was born in 51. So okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep. 73, 70, coming up to 74. Okay. There you go. I was kind of going to lead on to another question then. So I was going to say it's probably not much point asking what your favorite movies are at this point, because I normally would save that to the end. But apart
Well,
from the
my
Disney
favorite
stuff,
movies. It's really so. There's movies that I feel that everybody should watch, and
yeah,
I
okay,
would probably say
it's a
that
good
those
answer.
are probably more my favorites.
Mm,
Like I love classics. I love Gone with the Wind. I love Rebecca. I love Psycho. I
yeah,
those are all movies that people have to see. But I like thinking films. Like I love Eternal Sunshine of the
yeah,
Spotless Mind. I love Identity. I love The
yeah.
Others.
Oh,
I love Boondock Saints. I love Seven.
yeah,
I love American Psycho, and I love Cruel Intentions. Which honestly, I love Dangerous Liaisons too, which is the same
yeah, yeah,
story.
yeah. Yes, it is.
And
Yeah, yeah.
Valmont. I like something about that story. I just like, and I've watched it with all three of them. I like At Pupil. I
Oh,
love
wow.
American History X.
Yeah.
I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is probably one of my favorites too.
I literally watched that
Um,
yesterday as well for the first time, probably since in the early 90s.
Very
So
cool.
I loved it. What was that
Death
last?
Becomes Her. Death Becomes
Oh,
Her.
Death Becomes Her is amazing. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that movie.
I've
I
got
love The
no,
Burb.
dude, I could talk about the Burbs for, I have actually recorded an entire show about the Burbs with one of my friends as a YouTube
That's
channel. Like,
wonderful.
I'm a massive Joe Dante fan. So, yeah, it's, I could talk about the Burbs for a very long time. I've got no notes on any of those films you've listed because they're all fantastic. I mean, Apt Pupil was one that I've only seen once, and that was when I would have worked in the video store in the late 90s, I reckon. That's based on a Stephen King story about a Nazi, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Is that Ian
And the kid that
McKellen?
discovers who he is. Yeah. 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 Ian McKellen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's okay. You've just given me something I need to look back up and try and find because App People was pretty good, pretty good.
If you like
Yeah.
Stephen King, Dolan's Cadillac is
Oh,
strong. Loved Dolan's Cadillac.
okay. I've not seen Dolan's Cadillac,
Dolan-
but I'm a big Stephen King fan. I used to read him a lot, and I have a big collection. Actually, in my own spreadsheet, I have a special collection
Very cool.
collections column, and yeah, Stephen King is one of my collections column of all his movies. So
And I feel like everyone should see Fargo and The Game and
yes,
The Game
yes,
with Michael
again,
Douglas. Like that's
yeah,
such a good movie. It's
yeah,
only worth a one shot unless you're watching it with someone else.
yep.
But and I love stuff like Burnt and Autofocus, and it's actually helpful that I'm actually in this room because I can actually kind of look around and be like,
Yeah,
oh, and
I can
I
see
leave a
looking
lot of
around.
my favorites toward the front. Like now that I'm like
Yeah,
starting to be like, let me actually put my brain to work.
yep.
Like Elizabeth is a wonderful movie. Oppenheimer this past year, I loved
Mm-hmm.
Oppenheimer.
Yep.
I loved Quills about the Marquis de
Um,
Sade.
I have heard of the Quills. I've never seen it. Is that John Malkovich in the Quills?
Oh, I think it is. I can tell you because I have it
I'm going to keep
right
my
here.
cinephile card if I've got that right. I'll tell you.
It is Jeffrey Rush. Nope, and Kate Winslet.
Okay, I lost my cinephile card. All right, points off.
That's it was a try.
Yeah, well, it was
It,
an attempt. Yeah.
but what's neat about also my collection is that because I watch everything. Oh, Call Me by Your
Mm.
Name. That was amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Fried green tomatoes. I love fried green. And strangely enough, I
Yeah.
don't know if you saw where the crawdads sing, but that's a lot like fried green tomatoes. It reminds me
Is
so much of
it?
it.
I didn't like Where the Crawdads Sing, but Fried Green Tomatoes is something I do need to watch because I like Kathy Bates. I'm a big Kathy Bates
Well,
fan as
if
well.
you don't like Where the Crawdad Sings, you were probably not like Fried Green Tomatoes.
Oh, really? Okay.
I feel like that's the movie I compare it to really heavily. Oh,
Ah, there you go.
Somewhere in Time is amazing. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
Don't think
Jane
so.
Seymour, Christopher Reeves.
No, I definitely haven't seen
Uh,
that.
it's a romance movie that uses time travel, and they use
Okay.
hypnosis to time travel. And it's written by Richard Matheson, and he did a lot of the Twilight Zone episodes. If you're familiar with
Hmm.
him, really a brilliant movie. He wrote the book too. He directed the movie. No, he didn't direct, but he wrote the movie script and the book. And honestly, the book is lousy because I love the movie so much. Don't
Wow, that's
understand.
interesting. Yeah, yeah,
It's
that's
really
not very
weird. It's
often you
kind of
hear
like
that.
Freaky Friday by Mary Rogers. She also
Mm.
wrote the screenplay for the movie. And honestly, the two don't really go hand in hand. And I enjoyed A Billion for Boris much more, which was the
Wow.
sequel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never ever knew there was a sequel.
Oh, there's two of them: A Billion
Oh,
for Boris and Summertime Switch. I was a big book
wow.
person because I didn't have television, so
Yeah, of
I had
course. Yeah,
time to
yeah.
read all this
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially the kid.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Boris has Seth Green in it. It's one of his first
Oh,
movies.
okay. Wow.
It was kind of
Yeah.
funny because when I got to meet him, that was the movie I chose to bring with me for the DVD. And he was like, "How much did you pay for this?" And it was like, "I
Yeah.
spent literally $3." And he's like, "You overpaid."
Oh, really? Yeah.
A
Meet
great
Seth
sense of humor
Green.
about it.
You need to tell
Yeah.
us that story about how you met or why you met
Oh,
Seth Green.
well, I go to Comic Con a lot in New York City because it's
Ah,
only a few hours from me.
sure. Yep,
So
yep.
I've gotten to meet a lot of people. And whenever I do, I try to bring the movie that they would least likely to be willing to admit to
Yeah, yeah. That's
so that
great. Yep.
they can try to make them remember me.
Bit of a conversation. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's great. And he's like you overpaid for it. That's great.
Yeah. Like I have that memory now and it's
Uh,
wonderful.
yeah, yeah. That's really good. So what are your favorite labels and just in distributors? Do you have any favorites that you would kind of seek all the time?
So honestly, for a while, I was trying to collect Criterion specifically because I felt that they were
Hmm.
movies that people weren't noticing, and I wanted to get
Yeah.
myself more educated in film.
Hmm.
So for a while, I sought those out. Some are good, some are bad. I guess that's like everything. Not everything's perfect. It's been more recent that I started to pick up on more boutique labels. Like I hadn't really seen a boutique label since Anchor Bay's Disney stuff, which I thought was weird. Now I'm finding myself buying more and more, and I've got this addiction to steelbooks that I've never had. That
Yeah, understood. Yeah.
so I'm now buying from Zavi because
Oh, yeah, yeah.
they have the main ones. Manta Lab, I've had a couple from them. I
Okay.
don't buy a lot from them because it's so for me it has to be. Remember, every time I buy a different format, you're spending money again on a same title. So
Yes.
some titles I'm good with just having a copy to access. I mean, I grew up in the 80s with
Hmm.
lousy antenna TV. Well, honestly, grandma had satellite dish, so I can't really say that. But she did have antenna as well. Like I've seen bad picture
Quality.
format.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, of course.
DVD is at least an upgrade, and everybody's that's like, oh, and I find that there's a lot of snobs, especially in all these collector communities, where like if
Mm.
it's not 4K, they get chills. And my opinion is like, if you have a clear copy of the movie, be grateful because I know VHS doesn't stay that way. It
Yeah, you get.
deteriorates, it dumps, it's got lines. If you have a good quality copy, at least you have something that is stomach to watch. If it's something special to me, then I will
Yep.
start to buy the bigger. Like I have every edition of Clue that's ever come out around the world because I
Wow.
love Clue. Yeah, I have this little
Okay.
Clue suit. Like I
So
don't know
that's
if you can
funny.
see.
Yeah, you know what? I really like Clue. Sorry, I've just woken up my cat now. I spoke a bit more loud. I have strangely four different copies of Clues and out of the middle of nowhere. And that's not because I don't collect multiple issues of the same title, but for some reason I have
Right,
four copies of Clue. I don't know how or why. Like I know one was in a box set and one I just picked up.
right.
It's really weird. It's strange.
So
It's
I
probably
so if it's different artwork, I love the artwork.
okay.
Even to the point that I've had, like, I don't know if you saw through my pictures that I have a best picture collection.
Yes. Oh yeah, man. I commented on that.
Oh,
That's
did you? The
I,
one you?
f-
Okay, that's great.
I fell in love with
Um,
that. Yeah.
so I had those covers made by an artist friend.
Oh, yeah, I
He
wanted to
made me
ask you
the
about that.
covers. I have all the empty cases, and I switched all the discs and all the paperwork over to those cases so that I had a set that looked alike because I really wanted it.
So are they
And not,
tins? Are they tins or plastic? Because they look like tins in the
no, no,
photos.
no, no, no. They're regular plastic. They're
Okay.
regular cases. I
Because
imported gold colored cases from England because I
wow.
wanted gold colored cases,
Yeah, yeah.
and I had him design it. And he did it with this black. It's black and gold font, and every decade, so every 10 years, you'll find the list of movies that won for the decade.
Hmm.
So the 30s,
Yeah,
the 40s, the 50s, on the back.
yeah.
So that's how I did it. And like, and they have, I gave them a fake UPC number so that they look real. I get like,
Oh,
I
really?
went all out to make sure that they looked authentic because I don't like bootleg cases. I don't like when things don't print right. I don't like when
Yeah.
it looks altered. It drives
Hmm.
me crazy. I want something that actually looks authentic. So I
So
had those
you will,
commissioned.
so you will buy the movie and then just transfer it into the case.
And then in
Wow.
some cases, I've had him design other cases for me that
Yeah.
don't actually exist, but just because I wanted
Oh.
them. So
How
now
did you
this
get
isn't
onto
going to
this
help
guy?
your
How did you get onto this person to do that?
between a friend of a friend. He actually lives in
Okay.
Florida.
Right.
So I went to my friend who I knew was really technical with stuff, and I said, "Hey," he's like, "I can't do it, but I have a friend that can." And it's like, introduce
Yeah.
me.
That's
So I'm going to
amazing.
show you something which your audience won't see because I
Yeah.
am obsessed with the Parent Trap 2 and 3. I mean 3 and 4.
Wow. So that's
It's all
just a
custom.
custom made slipcover for
It's not real.
wow.
And
That's
I came
amazing.
across this on the internet, and I had him make me this
Oh
because
wow, that's cool.
it was lovely and I couldn't say
Yeah,
no. And
that's
then
insane.
because I couldn't pick, I had him do an insert with the black and white.
Wow. That looks really good.
But he does good work, and
Mm,
that's what I needed. So I am starting to take anything that I have that's not authentic because it's not released, and I'm
mm.
having him design me cases on top of still buying my regular titles. And trust me, if it comes out to authentic guys, for those people that'll be like, oh my God, he's dealing with a bootleg, if they make it authentically available, I will buy it authentically.
Yeah, yeah,
I have
yeah.
no
And
problem doing that.
yeah, yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm not a I don't buy bootlegs. 'Cause it's just the
Like,
quality, isn't it?
I mean, right. These are things that I had to transfer from the VHSs, and I'll show you these.
Oh,
You
yeah,
see,
yeah.
I really have the VHSs. It was
Yeah.
like I want the better quality. I would do it if I could. Like I am
Yeah.
lucky enough to have all the DuckTales movies. Now, when they
Oh,
release
wow.
DuckTales, at least here, they cut
Yeah.
them. They're cut into the 22-minute segments.
Yeah,
And
okay.
have I have Super DuckTales from its original airing. I have DuckTales Time is Money from its original airing. I have
That's
DuckTales Treasure of the
fantastic.
Golden Sun from its original airing because I liked DuckTales and Grandma taped them for me. So
That's fantastic.
those all like so I'm having him make me special covers for each of these DuckTales specials because it's DuckTales.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, I did like that Oscar setup. Just for our listeners, Richard has an actual Oscar
Oh,
on
it's a
shelf.
replica. It's
Oh
replicated.
well,
It's not a real
yeah,
one.
a replica, but yeah, of course it's not an actual Oscar, but it looks pretty good.
It's exact height and exact weight, and I bought it from Russia,
Wow, that's
and that
incredible,
was
man.
in 2015.
So you must have to do a lot of work to source this stuff, especially getting it from Russia as well. Like
I
that's
spend 60% of my time researching on the internet.
wow,
That's what I do with the internet.
that's great. It was cool though. I mean, have you got a place
That's
in
how
in
I
the new home to set all this up? Like you've got a basement or
well.
somewhere to set it up in the new house, or
So when we buy the house, we're gonna find one with a basement. That's something that
okay,
like we don't have a house there yet, but he took the
right,
job, and we're in the process of doing this. Like I'm like my DVD collection is the one that's safe. Like when I downsize, I'm not downsizing anything from here. So it's just a matter of getting it done.
yeah, okay. I'm just letting you carry out. Yeah, no, the downsizing probably with that much. I wouldn't think it would be an option to downsize, to be honest. Like if you're all in now, like so you may as well keep going, right? So
Right.
I mean, how do you buy your movies? Do you go to physical
So
stores or online a lot?
most of it's online a lot. It's terrible. I used to get a lot of deals on like Black Friday. I would go to Walmart
Yeah,
and I would stand
yeah.
in line and I would spend $300, $300 to $400 each year on about $1,000 worth of DVDs
Mm-hmm.
because I would save up all year for that.
Yep.
And those days are now gone, and I hate that. So
Yeah.
now I'm finding myself, especially with internet stuff, like I go on eBay and I look for screeners because screening copies
Mm.
are at least legitimate copies. So if I can find those, I try to do that first. When I go to the movies, I keep track of any movie that I like and I try to go over to
Yeah.
Amazon and add it to a wish list so that I
Mm-hmm.
don't forget anything. So I can still look for deals. Other than that, I'm going to say I utilize Amazon a lot. I utilize eBay a
Mm-hmm.
lot. I utilize a lot of like I just ordered from Imprint 3 different times over the past six
Right.
months. It's the first time I'd
That's
ever
good.
even heard of them. I
Ah.
saw the release for the Neverending Story, and then that was followed up by the I Dream of Jeannie announcement, and then that followed up
Mm-hmm.
by the Alfred Hitchcock announcement. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, they're on a roll.
Yeah.
Like you've got my attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Imprint are
Um,
doing some pretty good work. Yeah.
Kino Lorber is doing pretty good
Um,
work. You know,
Kino, Kino are saving the medium. Their upcoming releases are insane. What they've got in the works. I love
I'm
Kino.
hoping they bring out. They're supposed to be bringing out Nightlife, and I'm super excited about that because I have my VHS copy and then a crappy dub from that, and I
Right.
cannot wait to upgrade that because I want
Yeah.
that. They brought out Babes in Toyland with Keanu Reeves, but
Yeah.
they didn't do the uncut. That's still the cut version, which kind of
Okay.
makes me sad.
Yep.
Like, so I do order from the boutiques a lot of times directly
Mm-hmm.
because it's easier. I tend to find that all my other sources, when I go to look, they're always more expensive. So,
Yeah.
like, you try to go to Movies Unlimited or to Critics Choice Video, or
Mm-hmm.
you even look up, FYE, like all of those, they're still they're still higher priced than everywhere else. So that's
Yeah.
not
Okay.
doing them any favors. So I'm
Yep.
like I go to try to get them like I still try to get them as cheap as possible, but I also,
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
like like I hate not to support it at full price, but on the other hand, I can't afford to do it at full
Have
price.
Have you heard of
Like
Umbrella, another Australian label? You would have heard of
so
Umbrella,
I have
right?
I
Yeah.
got the Super Mario Brothers
Yes. Yep.
special edition, and
Yeah.
I got the first version, not the second. And
Right.
my husband is a huge fan of Tank Girl, and they came out with a version
Oh,
of that.
yeah. They did. I have that. Yeah.
And I bought the Weird Al movie from there because it was before the US release, and I wasn't sure we were going to get
Weird.
one. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I was really shocked we had that in Australia, to be honest, because it's very difficult to be a collector in Australia, and the fact that it's just random, the good stuff we get. So yeah, I was surprised that we would have gotten because I guess it was on a streaming channel, it wasn't on the Roku channel over there, so it wasn't a streamer in Australia, so that's probably why we got the physical. Sorry, I'm just talking myself into that making
Oh no.
sense.
Now I will say, like, there's another one. Another they mainly do horror films, from my understanding, and they did the Clue documentary when the gentleman put
Okay.
it out. Really nice guy. He put out this making of, and he used this company, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. But they usually do horror, and so I'm a snob when it comes to movies. I like plot lines and
Yep.
solid
Okay.
plot lines and
Mm-hmm.
thinking film.
Yep.
And if it's got a weak plot line, or like, I have a harder time with it. Now I know I
Okay.
just said I bought the Mario Brothers and Tank Girl. That's my
Yeah.
husband's taste, not my taste. So like the stupid funny has a place, but he will watch. I mean, he'll sit there and he'll watch Birdemic or the. Oh, he made me watch this dinosaur one the other day with a priest Velociraptor. Oh, so
Oh,
for
yeah,
me,
Velocipasta. Is it Velocipasta or
oh
something?
yeah, that's it, Pastor.
Yeah,
So like
I've heard things about that. Yeah.
So yes, is it funny? Sure. Is it like, oh my God, why did they make this and how did this pass? Yes.
Yep, yep.
So I am more of a snob. So my I do have a horror section. I feel like my horror section's good, but my horror
Mm,
section's smaller because I don't
mm.
go and just buy anything. And I say that and I have 20,000 DVDs. I don't buy
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
anything. There's a lot that I don't actually have.
Yeah, that's a really good point because there's a couple of good points there, especially about the horror stuff. But that's okay. So what type of things? I mean, apart from that, the dumb comedy type of stuff. Is there anything of
I
note
do
that
like
you
does some
just?
dumb comedies. Like I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
Night at the
same.
Roxbury. I love Grandma's Boys.
Ye- Yep, yep, yep.
I
No.
really I really love Grandma's Boy. Like, but like
Mm.
I do watch dumb comedies, but I have to be in a specific mood. And even the dumb comedies are usually smart. I would rather watch a really dumb comedy than watch something like Birdemic where they had paper birds attacking people. Like,
That's
you
great.
know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I do. So just on that, being that you own 20,000 movies, do you have any, do you use streaming services of any kind?
so unfortunately, yes.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the problem is because of the way I am. When something comes up, now do I use them a lot? No. Now, I
right.
will say, because I'm in a basement, my movies are down here in a finished basement. And
Hmm.
my TV, if you've noticed in any of the pictures, the TV is clearly above me. It's not this.
Yeah,
My old TV is cooked up down here to use a VCR too.
right.
So my and I get a lot of static about that from people when they see it. They're like, "Oh,
Right.
well, your TV needs to increase." Well, I have one upstairs,
Yeah.
and I will have these lazy moments where I don't want to walk down the stairs, so I'll go
Okay.
and see, is it streaming? Like,
Yep.
I'll save myself the walk. If it's not streaming, and then all of a sudden it's a rental price, it's like,
Yeah.
nope, I will go down the stairs.
Yeah, yeah, of
Like,
course. Yeah,
or
that's, oh,
sometimes you just don't find it. And then I'm like, huh, because
I
there's a
have that.
lot that's not
Ye-
available for
Oh,
anybody who
there's
thinks that
lots. Yeah,
the streaming
yeah.
has everything. They don't,
I
not even
kind
by
of,
a long shot.
I kind of had this new, I don't think it's really a hot take, but it's just an opinion or probably a fact. But I think streamers are really only built for casual movie watchers or casual TV watchers, not for cinephiles and not for people who watch hundreds of movies a year. So for someone who just wants to sit down and, because they're busy, busy people or they don't watch a lot of TV, it's just that's who streamers are for, I think. And that's sadly enough, they're kind of ruining the industry as a whole. Yeah. It's,
But what's worse is that all these, so like when I was a kid, and once again, this might only be a US thing, we had the major networks, CBS, NBC, ABC, and then finally Fox.
mhm.
And all of your good TV programs went through those. Anything
Yes.
good, you would
Yeah.
see it. Now they have nothing good on any of them.
No, no, they
Like they
don't.
have literally reduced themselves to reality shows, and I'm sorry for anybody that
Yeah,
loves them, but
yeah,
reality shows have zero budget, they make tons of money, and they have shaky cam, and they you could film it on your cell phone.
they are made for the lowest common denominator, I think. It's
That's what
reality
our
shows. Yeah,
TV networks have become. So
yeah,
anything good is on the streaming service because they've never learned how to incorporate both, or to
yeah,
split their series 50-50 and put half of them
mm,
on TV and half of them on streaming.
yeah, yeah,
And honestly, they'll be like, well, the TV, they have ratings that you have to watch, and that really should be overhauled. Like we have to meet modern
yeah,
time.
yeah, absolutely. Of course, I totally
So
agree.
so it's frustrating. So if I want to watch Ted Lasso, which was amazing, by the way, I
Mhm.
had to see it through a streaming service. I'm
Yep.
surprised that it came out. I had actually gone and bought screeners of all three seasons. The same
Mm.
with Mrs. Maisel. Mrs.
Now there's a
Maisel hasn't gotten
Blu-ray.
released yet,
Oh,
but
okay.
Ted Lasso came out, and I was on that day of release. It was like, nope,
Yeah,
I need that.
yeah. We haven't got that in Australia, which because I mean I know because I think with Apple especially they're made through other companies like Sony will make the shows, but then they license it to Apple to stream to screen whatever
Right.
you want to say. So they still get the physical media rights where it's really confusing as a collector to know what's going to come and what's not. It's really like, I mean, shrinking, same company, but will we get shrinking on physical? I don't know. And physicals, for me, shrinking is a 10 times better show than Ted Lasso. And I really like Ted Lasso. So,
Oh,
but that would be great on physical. It's a weirdly Amazon normally release most of their stuff on physical media, but we haven't had Saltburn yet. We haven't had there's
right.
quite a few others, right?
I
So
I had to
it's
buy a screener
confusing,
of Saltburn.
right? So how do
Well, I
you?
have one.
So we don't obviously. I don't think you could get a screener in Australia because I don't think they're. And that's going to be a dying art form for you too. Because I have friends who are critics, or I listen to podcasts of critics, and they talk about that now they don't get screeners. It's just basically a link to a website, like it's a fully firewalled encoded website. There's no actual physical item that comes anymore.
So for some of them, so for some of the award shows, yes, but not all the award shows. So the
Okay, yeah.
Oscars still do actual physical.
Okay.
So
That's
as you can see,
good.
that's Saltburn.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
This would have
but
been the Critics' Choice people then, actually. So actual film critics. So yeah, they don't get
yeah.
screeners.
So a lot of them have been transferred to digital only,
Mm.
but not all of them yet. I'm
Right.
Will that come? It could, but I
Yeah.
do feel that the screeners are a way to add artwork and stuff to attract attention of voters, and I think that
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
still
yeah.
hoping to do that. Like the Mrs. Maisel cases are gorgeous. I don't know if you've ever seen any of these, but
No,
this
no, I
came with a
haven't.
whole box set.
Oh, wow.
Like, and they have like little doodads with it, and you see like I got this whole little like makeup case and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So like when they actually do it, they try to do it right. Or like
Merch
if
as
you look
well.
down here, like they have these boxes and this art, you know,
Is that Ghost Whisperer?
Ghost Whisper. And I'm gonna say no, but I'm not sure where you're
Okay.
looking. Grim?
Oh, the bottom. No, it was that bottom one. The very
Oh,
underneath those
so
ones.
so this is a box that came
Yeah.
from 20th Century Fox in 2017. And I kept the box and I started to fill it with screeners that I liked
Ah, understood. Yep. Wow.
so that it had a little home.
So just for the listeners,
So
Richard has a whole box full of screeners. So I don't know that you'd be able to buy them on eBay in Australia, but obviously, do they cost you? Do they charge you much? Because who are they coming from?
honestly, some of them do, some of them don't. It really
Okay.
depends on the title. Like some of them
That
I've gotten for as little as $5, and then others I paid 80. It
wow. So are they
there's like
DVD or Blu-ray quality or what's
usually
the
TV. I mean, usually DVD. Like I
okay.
bought Feud. I bought Sabrina, the Chilling
Hmm.
Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah.
Like I pick and choose, but there hasn't been many Blu-ray. It's mainly almost always DVD.
Yeah,
But even
okay.
a DVD is better than nothing if it hasn't been released.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yep.
So
I feel like
that's where I'm left with.
I feel like I have so many questions. So I'm going to ask this one just for our listeners because I mean I will absolutely share the photos of these of Richard's collection, but how do you organize it? Like, how,
So it's organized by genre.
oh,
I have this memory as a child of going into this video store that my
mm,
aunt worked at, and they had walls, and it was done by genre, and they had walls, and they just had all the fastening, like it would pull your attention. And I try to do that in here, and I think you can tell because you've seen some of the photos.
yeah,
And it reminds me so much of that experience that I try to do that. So genre it is. Each genre, some of them, if I don't have a large movement on the cat, like I don't. I mean, clearly, I'm a big plot person, so
yep,
action movies don't have a lot of plot quite often.
yeah,
So I have a smaller action section.
okay,
Those are alphabetical. I have my comedy section. Although my comedy section's large, I don't get huge new titles in because it's
yeah,
pretty much stagnant. Those are alphabetical, but not all my sections are. My holiday section's alphabetical. But then I have them locked into
oh,
like I put animated and then I do it like so my animated section, I have these square shelves and I kind of
okay,
each box has a subject matter in it of
right,
some sort. So like I have a box that is just Don Bluth films and I have a box that's all
oh wow,
Muppets. And I have,
uh-huh.
so
That's
these
great.
squares and I'll show you, but you can probably show photos of them. So like
Oh yeah, oh okay, yes, yeah, I
So,
will
and
have.
not all of them are completely themed. Sometimes I've had to do two or three, depending on what it is. Like my He-Man and Mario are together, but but once again, I feel like they're still like the '80s. You're still in the same decades, and I try to do that.
Yeah, okay,
And then I have an animated cartoon section, and then I have a family section, then I have a horror section, and I try to keep movies and TV shows out not mixed together
yeah,
unless it's a small section. So my horror TV shows
okay,
and horror movies are pretty much together, but my comedies are separate. So if you
yeah,
look at
that
my
makes.
comedies, that's my comedy TV shows and then my comedy movies.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, that makes sense. I mean, this is one of the beautiful things about collectors is that
As long as I know
it
how to
makes it.
access them, we're good.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to us. I mean, I recently listened to a podcast on the big picture where they interviewed Tracy Letts. I don't know if you know about Tracy Letts. He's apparently the
No,
physical. You've heard he's an actor, right? You know Tracy Letts, the actor.
the name's not the name doesn't click. That doesn't mean anything.
Okay,
The actors that are
okay.
important to me are not always. You know what I mean? What's he in?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The probably thing you'll know him from the most, he plays Henry Ford in Ford versus Ferrari, and he's
Oh,
in
that's a great movie.
yeah, he's in quite a he's one of he's just a
Yeah,
character actor. You'll
but
recognize
he's
him if you
popped up
look
a
him up.
lot. Yeah, like I
Yeah,
know him,
yeah,
know him. It's like, oh no, I know this guy. I didn't know his
yeah.
name, but I've seen him a lot.
Yes, absolutely. He's in a lot, and he's one of those guys you go, oh, that guy, he's in this. But he's actually married to Carrie Coon, who's obviously in the latest Ghostbusters movies. And he was
Very
talking about
cool.
his collection. He has a collection of 10,000, and he's being asked about, well, how does he organize? And he's talking about how he has a basement, and he says, and he's very forthright, and he has about 10,000 movies. He said, and I thought, that's a lot, but you've got like 20,000. It
Yep.
just there's always a bigger fish, right? As per
I mean,
Phantom
it is and
Menace.
it isn't. Like, it's still impressive, no matter
Yeah.
what you say.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, people see mine. I haven't even got 2,000 yet, and then people are like, "Wow, you've got a lot." And I'm like, "No, I don't actually. If you look around, I do not." But anyway, there's he was talking about how ugly they are to display to present, but he says as you walk down, he's into his basement. He has them organized for his wife, so that looks a bit pretty. So he has all these; they're all color coded and also by labels. So he has all these arrow ones. Look, they're spine out and they're
yep,
color coded. So he said he was on holiday once and she was looking for a movie to show the kids or whatnot. And he said, well, if you had a looked in the, and she couldn't find it, even though she knew he had it. And it's like,
yep,
well, if you had a looked in the arrow section under in the green spines or whatever, you would have found it. Like, but and that's the thing about us collectors, we know where our own stuff is. It's even though we
right.
all from everything I've gathered, a lot of us organize our stuff mostly in very similar ways, but there's all these subtle differences. Like your genre, I mean, I'll organize. Most people I've spoken to have, I would say, smaller collections, small to mid-sized collections like my own, organized by format. So I'll have my 4K separated from
Oh,
my Blu-rays, and I don't have a lot of DVDs. But so I have my Blu-rays all in alphabetical order. My 4Ks will be alphabetical, and then I have like an Asian cinema section, and then some collector editions like my Criterions will sit with my movie editions or something like that as well. So and box sets will sit somewhere else. So yeah, but to have enough to separate them by genre. I mean, I've been asked why don't you do it by genre? I'm like, because for me, genre is there's too many subgenres, and I would look at something and go, is this horror or is this comedy horror or is it comedy or is it action?
so
Is it action adventure? Is it
so I
it's
gotta tell you how I handle that, because that
okay,
has happened to me.
yeah,
So I go by the first one that comes to my mind of where I'd put it.
right, okay. So have you
So
ever gone? But the way my brain would work, I'd be going, oh, I would have put that in comedy, but then I'm going, and then I've kind of done this before. Oh, actually, it's in my horror section. Like because I do have drawers of horror movies, so I keep my horror separate as well. But then sometimes I look on my shelf and I'm like, is that a horror or is it a horror? I'm like, nah, it's not a horror. I'll keep it on the shelf. Like it's really difficult.
now I have had this happen where I was like, huh, I would think that I would put it here, but let me go check the other section and see if it's
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. It's
And
one
I
of two
have
options,
found that.
right? Yeah,
And I
yeah,
have found that. And it's
yeah.
only happened a couple of times, but it's okay because I know I have it. It's just a matter of me figuring out my own brain. But I also know how my
Yeah,
brain
yeah.
works.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I can follow the map.
yeah. I
Now,
mean,
like
it's
my Disney stuff, I have every Disney theatrical film that's come out. And so what I've basically have tried to do, I kept my Disney Movie Club stuff separate and the special
hmm
sets. And then I go into kind of by years because I have a vague idea of where they fall into line.
Yep.
So like 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and then I go over to 90s, and then I substitute and switch out to Disney Channel because I know Disney well enough to know where they go. And then I have one side that's animated.
Okay.
And then I have the rack on the side that were Disney Channel aired, but weren't Disney, like my Ocean Girl, my Spellbinder, like those. I have a whole shelf that's just them.
So it's just to inquire, and it's kind of a smart ass question, but where do you keep Who Framed Roger
Okay.
Rabbit? Because it's live
So like,
and animated
but it's Disney, so it's in the Disney section, and it's
under
at the top.
theatrical release.
It's still under theatrical release,
Yep.
and it falls into place in the 80s. So it's going to
Ah,
be right around Rocketeer, Condor Man, and
that's
those
amazing.
because they all came out right at the same time.
I'm so
So
impressed. It's amazing.
that's why I do that, because my Disney stuff I know so well, I can do that and be perfectly
Yeah.
fine with it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love it. As we're talking, I'm actually going through your posts and saving these photos so I can post them onto my
So the
Instagram
funny thing
channel.
about that post is I have over 160 photos, but
Yeah.
when you upload to Facebook, you can only upload 80.
Well,
So
I'm thinking now
yeah, so I can send
when
you the rest of them if you want them.
oh no, well I'm thinking when I upload to Instagram, I can probably only upload 10. I'm not sure that I
So
can upload many more. So
fair. So you got to
yeah.
pick your favorite.
Yes, well, I have a few favorites anyway, especially that Oscars setup and your Hitchcock section.
I,
And yeah, there's going to be a lot to choose from. So
I
yeah.
am so happy to like my Oscar set because that was a work of love. I'm still going through them
Oh,
too.
it's
So
so impressive.
when I went, I have an ex-wife who I was married
Yeah.
to for 10 years. And when we had this terrible divorce and I had a lot of free time on my hands while I was
Mm,
waiting to get my stuff back, I decided that I was going to watch every Alfred Hitchcock film.
yeah.
So I spent this entire chunk of time
Yeah.
watching and finding every Alfred Hitchcock film.
Yep.
And when I got done, I said my next project is going to be Stanley Kubrick films.
Oh,
And
okay.
then when I was done, I said my next project is I want to see every Best Picture film. So I was trying to give
Yeah,
myself
that's great.
knowledge that I have a lot of knowledge for rare and obscure films and the weird stuff that nobody's heard of because, they
Hmm.
showed them on like the Disney Channel in the 80s. But I don't have some of the more I kept having the conversation, what, you haven't seen that? That's so,
Yeah.
it's mainstream. So that's what I started to do.
Hmm.
And right now, my cousin and I, are doing this project to watch every Best Picture. And I
Oh,
started with
yeah.
1927 in Wings, and I
Hmm.
just rewatched Titanic because we're watching them in order.
Yeah.
So I just saw Titanic, so I'm up to 1998, and I'm continuing from there.
Well, a few to catch on. So
Not done. Yeah, I still have
no,
a
no,
few to
no.
go, and some of them because we're getting into more newer stuff is stuff I've actually seen, so I don't have a lot that I haven't seen at all. But
Okay.
there are still some of the titles like I haven't seen. Yep, Shakespeare in Love. That's the next film. I've never seen it.
Hmm. Okay.
So of course I have my friend he's like, that's such a terrible movie. You don't want to see it. And it's like, I have to. It won Best Picture. I'm going to
It's
see it
not
one way
a
or the other.
look. Shakespeare in Love's not. People think it's a terrible movie because it won Best Picture over Saving Private Ryan and some
Well,
other ones it shouldn't have.
that's
But
exactly his issue. Is
it's
he loves Saving Private Ryan.
oh
So
well, Saving Private Ryan is no doubt the better movie. But look, Shakespeare in Love is
there.
not a bad movie by any means. Of course, it's not a bad movie. It wouldn't have been nominated if it was a bad movie.
Right.
Uh,
Well, and I still have that opinion that whatever does win moves film forward. I have
yeah,
this very romantic notion that the Oscar should be what moves film forward for that year. What is
yeah,
topical? What new innovations have they done? Like I really feel that that's the point
yeah,
of Oscar. Like Everything Everywhere All at Once winning excited me so
yeah.
much on so many
Same,
levels.
same.
I
And
love that movie.
the Oscars have gotten better because everything used to be like, I think we can go back to even 2021 when Anthony Hopkins won for The Father
Oh, and that was so good.
over over Chadwick Boseman. And everyone's like, Chadwick's going to win. That's why it was last because he's dead and it's going to be blah, blah, blah. That's what I like about the Oscars now is that they don't, it's not, doesn't feel as corrupt. They seem to be making the right
Right.
choice a lot more. And that's why when Everything Everywhere All at Once came out, like a movie group, a website that we kind of write for and whatnot. And everyone saw that movie when it came out in like April or March. It's like, this is the type of movie, if this gets snubbed at the Oscars, then the Oscars mean nothing to me anymore because this is the exact type of movie that should be winning awards because it's new, it's fresh, it's completely original, it's off its tits, it's bonkers, it's heartfelt, it's funny, it's everything, everywhere all at once, strangely enough. And when it did win, it was really validating to people who love movies and love them for the right reasons that the Oscars are
Right.
actually making these correct choices.
But I can't disagree. I like you're
This
very, very right.
this is going to be a
uh,
really interesting year when it comes to Oscars, and this episode is going to air after the Oscars have obviously been nominated. We haven't even seen nominations for the Oscars yet, but this is a really one of the most open years of all time. But I really have this weird feeling that the
I
substance
haven't
is going
seen
to
it.
be within a big shot. Oh, the
I
substance
need
is
to see it.
bonkers.
Yeah,
I do think Conclave will probably be the one that wins, Conclave or The Brutalists.
I
But I really
haven't seen the
think,
Conclave. I have.
oh yeah, same. I've seen Conclave. I haven't seen The Brutalists because it hasn't come out in my country yet.
Strangely enough, my favorite movie I've watched so far, and I don't think it's going to win awards, is Nora. I really loved it,
Yeah, Honora is great. It'll get a lot
and,
of nominations, but yeah, I really liked
but
Honora.
it's not going to win. Yeah.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's a little bit weak. I mean, the fact that it
So
won
while
Palme
we're
d'Or is a
talking
big thing,
about the
but
Oscars, I want to make a point for physical media too, and not to
yeah,
disrupt your thought.
no, no,
But
go
this
for it.
movie that I had to go and buy a screener of
Oh, Coda, yeah, yes, yes,
that won Best Picture,
yeah,
and it's not available on disc.
no.
That
Well,
could have ruined my whole collection.
he's
Screeners.
yeah. Here's a thought about what was my thought about streamers and movies. Like how one thing, if I own a movie on a disc, I'm pretty much guaranteed I'm going to watch that movie multiple times. If I watch a movie on
Sure.
streaming, as much as I love it or hate it, it's very rare I'm going to watch it a second time on a streaming service.
Mhm.
I don't know if
Sure.
I'm a Robinson Crusoe with that thought, but how often do you watch a movie on a streaming service, absolutely love it, and then go back and watch it 6 months, a year, 2 years later? Like,
So I'm one of those people. I have a group of movie friends, and we like they use my collection honestly as an archive. And my group of friends is age ranged. I have
yeah,
from 17 years old all the way to 72. And I probably have my Oscar party probably hosts between 30 and 40 people a year that are actual movie buffs.
yep,
So, and in my friend circle.
mm-hmm,
So those are the kind of people that are doing it. When I discover a movie that I like,
mm,
I will try to pull them in and show it to them or
yep,
say, you need to see this.
mm-hmm,
So sometimes I will watch a movie 5 or 6 times when it's brand new. Sometimes I end up at the theater multiple times. Sometimes
okay,
it's streaming. Saltburn is something I had to show to people.
yeah,
But the second I start to show it to people and I'm using it for any kind of quantity, I seek it out for a hard copy because I've liked it enough to
yes,
do it.
yeah, yeah,
Because at some point it's not going to be popular anymore. It's not going to be available, and I'm still going to have a copy. So, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I do feel like, to your point, if I was just doing it with just me, I would be a one and done person. I wouldn't go
yeah,
back and find it. And truthfully, like even now, if it wasn't for the fact that it was only on streaming, I would have found it and showed them a hard copy versus trying to show them on streaming.
yeah, yeah.
So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. It just gives me my own thoughts as well, because I mean, I can count on one hand how many movies I've watched multiple times that's been like a
Oh,
Netflix release. And Oakja is one, but I end up getting a Criterion version of that. Don't Look Up, I watched twice because I really like
yeah,
Don't Look Up. But even for movies that are mid movies, like 3.5 stars, something like The Grey Man, for example. I've seen that once, but if I owned a physical copy of that, I would be guaranteed I'd watch that again. But because it's on
true.
a streamer, I'm not going to go back and rewatch The Grey Man, even though it's kind of widely panned movie lays and not a great movie. But I think it's still good enough to give another try, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Now, how about movies like? So there's this movie. It's called Cure for Wellness. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes, I have. I've seen Kill for Wellness. Yeah.
Okay. So I saw it, and I got lucky because I was friends with the people at my local theater, and the night that it like I thought it would have a Thursday night premiere at midnight, and it
Yeah.
did not. And he was like, but nobody bought tickets to that theater it's in, and he let me
Ah,
see it the night before it was out.
right.
So I saw that movie by myself in a theater.
Yeah.
Now, the movie made me feel very uncomfortable at the very best.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a lovely movie. It is a
Yeah. Yeah.
very pretty movie.
It's a fine movie.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
now I have seen this movie 8 times, I believe.
Okay.
I still don't know if I like it or hate it. I can't
Yeah.
decide.
Yeah.
I am at a loss, and I keep watching it again because I hope to find an answer, or I'm showing it to someone and I'm hoping that I'll get that clarity that'd be like, yes, I like this, or no, I don't. And
Yeah.
I still have not gotten that.
Wow.
And most movies I can judge pretty quickly. That
Yeah.
movie I cannot.
Yeah. Look, I totally understand that. I mean, I have plenty of examples where I've not liked a movie. I'll give it another crack and I really, really like it. Like, I think it's amazing. And vice versa, where I've loved a movie and go back and watch it and go, actually, what was I thinking? But it's very strange.
Now, the other thing to mention to that point, I think it also determines what your ages and what your insights have been, and like your mind, your outlook changes. So I remember watching American Beauty when it was brand new,
Yeah.
and I hated it. I hated it.
Ah, okay.
And now I watch it now, and now we're what 20 years later,
Yeah. At least
roughly.
25. Yep.
I gave it another crack because one of my friends is like, "How do you hate? Why do you hate this so much? It's wonderful." So it was like, "No, it's not." And it's like, well, in the honor of fairness, I'm a different person now. Let's try it. Loved it. No
Yeah.
idea. I no
Yeah.
idea why I hated it. I mean, I was
Yeah.
what 19, I think, when it came out.
Yeah.
20, maybe lack of life experience, but there is something to be said about giving a movie a chance after a few years because your opinions may change.
Absolutely. I mean, because you're a different person every time you watch. If you, well, maybe not every time, but if you give it enough space, like I was always like, with one of my better examples is The Princess Bride. I remember watching that. I never watched that as a kid or as a teenager when it first came out, and I was like, I would have watched it as a maybe in my late teens, and I was like, yeah, it's okay. Like, I can see why people like it. And then I watched that not this year now, it was last year when I was homesick from work one day, just in my bed on my iPad, and I put on The Princess Bride, and it was probably like the sixth or seventh time I watched it. Yeah, I want that. I can't get it. And when I watched it, I was like, I finally understand why this finally clicked for me, why it's so amazing. Like, and I moved up from probably 3.5 to a 5-star movie for me, because I finally like, okay, now I get why this is so beloved, why it's so great. And that took me 5 or 6 watches. And I mean, I'm a big advocate for movies need at least two chances. If you don't like a movie, then
Fair.
I mean, there's always
I
exceptions
also
to every
think it's
rule. But
I
give them
also
another
think it's
crack.
partly who you watch it with too, and their opinions of it.
Well, yeah, exactly
Because I've
right.
had, and they're like, God, this movie was terrible, and God, yeah, etc. And then it turns out that, you watch it a little while later, it's like, why was this terrible? Like, and it really wasn't. I just needed to watch
Yeah.
it with the right group.
Well, one of my all-time favorite movies is Goodfellas, and I love that movie
Great
ever
movie.
since it came out. Love Goodfellas. It was probably in my top 5 favorite films of all time for a while, and watched it with my ex-girlfriend at one point, and she wasn't
Yep.
into it. It wasn't her type of movie, and it kind of made me not like the movie much. So a few years later, and I watched it again last year, which was probably a few years after that, and then I was like, nah, she was wrong. This is fucking amazing, this movie. Like, it's so good. And it
Yep.
is, yeah, it very much is your mood, even when you sit down to watch it, whether you even want to watch a movie, but you just put it on to kill time. There's so many factors that come into your enjoyment of a movie.
It's true. And
Yeah,
sometimes you're just not in the right mood for the movie when you see it.
absolutely. 100%. There's a lot that goes into it. I mean, okay, so back onto the physical side of it, what do you have in your collection? And I know that you probably have a lot of answers for this because I've seen your collection, but what's probably the thing you own that you're the proudest of, the one that you like to show off the most? Because I mean, I could answer
Ooh.
it for you from what I've seen, but I want to know what your answer is.
So it's a really difficult question.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
really difficult question. I love
You can
I
have
have a
multiple
several.
answers.
I
Yeah.
have several. Like, I love my Warner Brothers box sets.
Oh yeah,
I I
they're nice.
I want all 19 of them. Like, I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and two more down
Hmm.
there. So I have nine. I have nine of
Hmm.
them. So that's 10 more to go. That being said, I also love my Disney treasures. Like,
Yeah,
I went normal titles and just to buy these back in the day.
yeah.
And I love these Disney movie exclusive collector sets of their classics, which once again I have the whole line.
Mhm.
And so a
Yeah,
lot
so
of that I'm
easy.
proud of. I really love my new Never Ending Story. I love
Yeah.
my Alfred Hitchcock set, the one that you
Yes. That would have been my choice. Yeah, that they're in
like.
the film canisters. So
I love
it's
my Die Hard
beautiful.
building
Oh
because
yeah,
the
the
movies are in the
Nakatomi Plaza. Yeah,
and I have
the
little
tower.
people I can throw off the top of the building. So if I want to have fun, it's true. But yes, I do that. I'm also like, I get excited to like my Mrs. Maisel set that nobody else has, my Golden Girl set. A lot
Right.
of the stuff that you see that are actually like presented and displayed. I've been a Titanic fan since I was five
Yeah.
years old because they
Yep.
found it underwater at that point. So I
Hmm.
have all these Titanic movies that have nothing to do with James Cameron's, and I'm
Oh,
really
okay.
proud of those. I have this
Have you got a
really
night to
weird.
remember?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's over here.
Isn't it
Yep.
amazing
See,
how much James Cameron ripped off from that movie to make Titanic though?
okay, I'm so
It's
mad that he ripped out the ending from Somewhere in Time. So this is good. This is worth a couple of seconds going off on a spiel.
yeah, let's do it.
Titanic. I have a love hate relationship with the movie. So the boat is gorgeous. The boat is everything I ever hoped it would be. It's very historically accurately done. They actually reenact photographs that are in all the old books that you see. Like you get chills from a lot of it. That being said, I feel like the story is very weak. I'm very story minded. I feel
Yeah.
like James Cameron is always has a weakness when it comes to writing. I feel like he wrote
Yes.
it so you could see
Thank
every
you.
part
Welcome
of
to
the
my
boat.
club. Welcome to my
Oh,
club. Yep.
we we can be friends. So like, I get that the story was designed so you saw every part of the ship, and that I
Hmm.
can approve of. But the
Hmm.
story was weak. You still can't convince me that someone of her class, even under dire straits, would talk to somebody of his class ever. It just wasn't done for the time frame.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot that isn't matched up. And the romance side of it, it's almost like, are you telling me that for a one night stand that she had, she went all through her life, had a husband, and God, when my friend listens to this, he's going to laugh at me because this is a lot of this is his spiel. And he made a point. Like,
Hmm.
all this time she had kids and everything, and she still goes back to the guy she had a one night stand with that she only knew for 2 days.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And the ending was very ripped off of Somewhere in Time. That being said,
Right.
it still gave me gorgeous scenes. Like Somewhere in Time, they meet after death. Well,
Hmm.
that kind of ruins that ending. And like it's very ripped off from it. Uh,
Yeah.
am I happy for the tip of the nod? Sure. The scene where she comes out of the vehicle with the big hat is very Gone with the Wind esque. Like there are
Yeah.
scenes in the movie I wouldn't trade for the world, but it's a very love hate relationship. I can I can say from a critical eye, the movie has a lot of flaws.
Mhm.
And there's some computer generation stuff that hasn't held up over the years, so that when they do the aerial shots, you can tell that it's computer people,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
updated, which you didn't
The
notice at the time.
no, the
That
thoughts
said,
that.
the boat is also beautiful.
Yeah.
It makes me love it every time I watch it. And
Yeah.
I think if I wasn't a fan of the boat, I would not like the movie the way I do. And
Okay.
that's
That's
giving my
interesting.
own honest
No,
assessment.
I get it. I mean, I'm a big fan. I love the movie Titanic, but when I first watched it and as I watched it over the years, I didn't have that. I mean, I watch a lot of old movies now. I love old movies, but I mean, I have this hot take that anyone who listens to me regularly, because I mean, I'm on a lot of different shows, but my James Cameron hot take is that he's like the Apple of directors, is that he'll take other people's ideas and kind of twist them and make them look like they're brand new and make them better even. I mean, make them more glossy and better and kind of palm them off of his own. I mean, Avatar is a Dances with Wolves, right? So it's the same. It's exactly
It's
the same
exactly
movie.
Dances with Wolves and a little bit of Pocahontas.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not. He hasn't got too many original ideas that have really been.
Some aspects, the Smurfs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay, that's
I'm
fascinating,
not a
isn't it?
fan of Avatar. I don't care for them. I feel that they're very weak plot. I feel like the last
Yeah.
one he stole from his own movie, and the scene in
Yes.
Titanic
Yeah.
where the ship is sinking, and Jack and Rose are going down the corridors, and you have all
Yeah.
the lights sparking and everything, and he kind of redoes that a little bit, and I'm like, you stole from yourself this time. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. He yeah, that's the thing. It's going to be interesting what the next ones are like with the avatars, to be honest, because I'm not that excited. When I think there's one coming out at Christmas time this year, it keeps 2 years late. But yeah, it's yeah, Cameron's an interesting one. It's funnily enough though, like I think three of his movies are in the top five highest grossing movies of all time, which
Yeah,
it's very strange. But again, with modern movies
they're
and modern
entertaining.
moviegoers, people like to see the same story over and over again. That's the way it works. Like, I mean, there are
13
only
so
so many
bad.
stories, but yeah, it's
Like, I don't know
interesting.
if you watched any of the sequels this year, but Moana 2 was terrible.
No,
I,
not even
I
interested.
my friend made me go see Mufasa because he wanted me to see me freak out because
Uh
he knew I hated the first one. And it's even worse than I pictured what it was going to be. So that's also terrible.
yeah.
Like I've seen a lot of bad movies this year. I feel like this year's had a lot of bad movies.
2024 has been a very average, even the better movies from this year.
I mean, Deadpool was good,
Yeah,
but even that was a
Deadpool.
sequel.
Honestly, Deadpool 3 surprised me how much I liked that because I'm not a massive Deadpool fan. Like, I mean, I like them
Oh,
fine, but I wasn't
okay.
hardcore, wasn't pushing myself to go watch it. But I was surprised how much I liked it. I had a really good time with Deadpool. But even
Um,
the prestige movies are just not cutting it. Like, I mean, there's a couple of
yeah,
exceptions, as there always are. But I mean,
right.
2022 was the last really good year of film, in my opinion. Really good
And
year.
you have a point. Of course, they had
Uh,
COVID hit, and everybody became afraid, and they need to only do blockbusters, or they're not going to make their money back.
yeah, 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 yeah. And it's very much,
Although I will say, I love Top Gun 2, and I can't stand
yeah.
Tom Cruise.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I
It's
don't like him very much.
I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise. Actually, I think he's really good.
Okay.
I think he's underrated, to be honest. I mean,
Well, I
this,
just like the Mission Impossible. I love the TV show, and I feel
yeah,
like the fight scenes are too long to become realistic, and it becomes a John Wick.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Although I love John Wick 1, and I hated John Wick 4. I don't know
yeah.
how you felt.
No, I did not like John Wick 4. I shat on that, and some
Oh,
people,
stare.
yeah,
That stair scene was awful.
it's
Yeah,
absurd. It's just an absurd movie. Like, they just even the lore that they build up through the first three. The first three are great to good.
I love number one. Number two
Yeah,
was
yeah,
good. Number
yeah,
three had that really long fight scene in the glass house,
yeah,
which felt like Mission Impossible to me. Mission
yeah.
Impossible 2, the beach scene.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I really was impressed with Top Gun 2, even though I felt it stole a lot from Star Wars. I was really impressed with it. I got sucked in and totally got sucked in.
Well, Star Wars is
And I would,
basically
right.
June. Star Wars is June. Yeah. I mean, like without June as the novels, there's probably a lot of movies we wouldn't have nowadays. Actually, without Frank Herbert, he was crazy. Like
I mean, they're even
he's
calling Dune the Star Wars of our
yeah,
of the
it's
21st century.
it
And it's
sucks,
like it
right?
kind of was
Because
Star Wars before.
yeah, because Star Wars was made before there was a Dune movie. That's the thing. It's Star Wars is a Dune rather than vice versa.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
you had the
anyway.
old Dune movie, and then you had the weird sci-fi miniseries, which I had those too.
Yeah, there's a James McAvoy, right? I don't have those. I've had an opportunity to buy those, and I don't know if I'd
Yeah,
watch them. So, yeah.
it's fair. That's
Do
super
you,
fair.
well, I guess on that little note, do you have anything that you regret buying? Oh, that might be tough. That probably you get a firm no, I would imagine. But
No, so I will buy things to complete a series if I, well, for a while, I'm trying to pull myself out of it. So I didn't buy a copy of John Wick 4 because I finally put my foot down and said, this is enough.
yeah,
But I have,
so you're a completist by nature. Then you like to have the series, whether or not you like it.
I do. If I like
Okay.
something of it, I try. Like I
Mm.
have the Hobbit movies that I didn't like very much, but I love the Lord of the Rings.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
have the Never Ending Story 3, which is god awful, but it has Jack Black. I
You
make
don't like Jack Black?
exceptions.
Oh, you like Jack Black.
Jack,
Sorry. Yeah, yeah,
right. I like Jack Black. I just
yeah,
don't like the Never Ending Story 3.
yeah.
But I own it. Like I still own
Yep.
it. Yeah, so like I have those little quirky things, and I own the new Craft, and I haven't even watched it because I heard how bad it was.
Ah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
I have American Psycho 2, which is a
Mm,
abomination. I own The Little Mermaid too because so my problem with Disney is Disney came out with a lot of I don't know if I can
yeah.
say that word.
No, you can swear. Yeah,
Okay, okay, it's a lot of like
go
Disney
for
has
it. Yeah,
had
yeah,
a lot of sequels. Like I was
yeah.
so mad at Michael
That was
Eisner when he saw them as a cash cow and he just popped them out. And it was the Australian animation that used to do the not that it's Australia's fault. It's not. Trust me, guys. Sorry, but that's where their animation studios were for it and they were popping out all the cartoon series, and it was cartoon series
yeah.
quality that just made these terrible sequels and hurt the Little Mermaid, amongst others, like Pocahontas 2, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2.
For direct to DVD, weren't they? Pretty much, weren't they?
They were.
Well, apparently
And now I
Moana 2
feel
was
like,
supposed to be direct to home video, but Bob Iger changed that up.
right? Yes, it's
Yeah.
true.
Mm,
And then Disney started doing the live action fairy tales, which originally were supposed to be magical. They were supposed to be adult versions of the fairy tales. That's how they were being paraded out. They were going to follow the original stories
hmm.
and of the original fairy tales versus the animated ones. And it worked for like Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland because he really did Alice through the Looking Glass. Because
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Tim Burton. I haven't mentioned that, but I do love Tim Burton.
Ah, cool.
But you go through that, and then they got to Beauty and the Beast, and because they'd already used Beauty and the Beast in so many other properties, like on Broadway was already huge, like people already loved the property. They couldn't really do anything to harm it much.
Yeah.
So the movie blew out of the water, and then they're like, "Oh, those dollars are nice. Let's replicate all of them."
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close back in the day didn't
Mm.
replicate the movie completely. These are just replicated. Do you remember when Dinosaur came out back in the early 2000s?
Yeah, I do.
Like
Yeah.
dinosaurs, yeah.
I don't know
So,
if I ever watched it, but I remember it.
well, I don't recommend. Don't. I mean, it was a Disney movie. It was computer animated, and basically, it was the Land Before Time done with old dinosaurs instead of young.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
like it was just super poor animation, and that's what these computer generated remakes feel like, and it
Mhm.
hurts on so many levels. The last one, like I walked out of the first Lion King, which is why Dave wanted me to see Mufasa.
So you
Ugh,
didn't like The Lion King?
the original I did.
Oh, gotcha. Oh,
The
you
one from
mean sorry,
1994.
the John Favreau
Oh
remake.
yeah,
Sorry, gotcha.
I
Understood.
made it as far as the song "Be Prepared" when it was started to be spoken, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm done. I can't
Yeah.
do this. I walked out. Aladdin, I
I
sat through the
love it.
whole thing of Aladdin, and
Yeah.
I don't like Will Smith very much
Hmm.
at all. But
Hmm.
he's not even what ruined that movie. Jafar ruined that movie.
Yeah, I think I watched 20 minutes of that. Yeah, I'm not interested
Yeah,
and turned it
and
off.
stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they set Agrabah on the sea. I don't even know what that was about. So super weird. Like unhappy. I've been very vocal. I try not to promote or to help Disney in their live action ventures. I try not to help make
Yeah.
them money. I kind of miss Michael Eisner's.
Coming, yeah. There's only more coming too, isn't there, with the live action stuff?
They won't stop. It's awful.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything that you're looking forward to being released? Anything that
Uh,
stuff that maybe not have been released yet?
so there's a Valentine's Day movie that's coming out with the guy who is in Everything Everywhere All at Once and the Goonies. And I'm not. Thank you, thank
Yeah.
you for saying that. Yeah, and it
Oh,
looks
is that the one with
hilarious.
He's doing that with Ariana, right?
Maybe I know it takes place. He's a realtor that apparently has a some kind of a crime past, and his brother comes to find him, and it looks hilarious. Looks really good.
Yeah, I'm looking at what's it
And
called?
then there's I don't remember. I just
Is
know
it
it
the
comes out on
Electric
Valentine's
State?
Day.
The Electric State?
Nah, that doesn't sound right.
No, that's a cartoon with love.
Maybe that sounds
Oh, yeah. It's Ariana DeBose. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, a
Perfect.
realtor is pulled back into the life he left
Yeah,
behind after a former partner in crime. Yeah. I'm absolutely all in on this for sure. Yeah.
that looks
Sean
fun.
Astin
I'm
as
looking
well.
for. There's a movie that's coming out that kind of looks like White Chicks but with women.
Oh,
Um,
right.
I like something about they are trying to make a rent payment because the boyfriend or whoever did not, and they have 24 hours to come up with money,
Uh-huh.
and it looks hilarious every time. And we keep looking at it, it's like this movie was not made for us, but it looks fantastic.
Yeah, right.
And that's going to be a
Yeah.
dumb comedy. It comes out this month. I just don't know when.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
Anything that's on physical in particular though that's not out?
Oh, physical media?
Yeah.
Sorry, I went with theatrical releases
No,
because
that's
that's what I thought
okay.
it was
That's
about.
all good.
I mean, physical media. I'm looking forward to Imprint's I Dream a Genie set, which is pre-ordered.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I actually like. Nightlife is supposed to be coming from Kino Lorber, and I'm very much dying for that. I keep checking for it all the time. They announced
Yeah.
it like 6 months ago, though, and it still hasn't been.
Yeah, they
If I
take their
even
time,
hear it yet.
Keno. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to be patient and not nervous. Other than that, I don't know if I really know anything that's specifically coming out. I have a pre-order in for the last Venom movie for when that comes out in Steelbook, because I
Okay.
don't think this has been released yet. But other than that, I don't know of anything that's actually coming out to mind. There's a Facebook page that I keep trying to look called Disconnected, so that I
Oh,
can
yeah.
yeah, I
Yep.
try to follow them so that I'll catch up. Like I do, I'm hemming and hawing. I'm on the verge of deciding if I want Wicked as a Steelbook now,
Yeah.
because I feel like they're going to do this as a cash cow and they're going to give you individual releases and then they're going to give you a big release. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just trying to. But then again, I waited with the Avengers set and they did the phase 1 and phase 2 and then didn't bother with phase 3. That kind of made me angry. They did a complete set after that and then I refused to give them money. I get annoyed when they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know if there's anything specific yet that I've seen that's coming that it's like, ooh, I need to own this now.
Okay. So I mean, I guess you would with that type of collection, you would regularly purchase anyway. Like you said, you do a lot of researching and hunting on the internet anyway. Yeah.
And the second something pops up and then be like, oh, I need that or I need that. But
Yeah.
I'm also kind of at this moment preoccupied with the move because it just seems to be going wicked fast. We went from
Yeah.
having to move to he needs to be there in April. And
Oh wow. Okay.
so I also have that to contend with in the backdrop. But I'm still going to catch up if I do fall behind with anything. Like that will happen.
This might be an insulting question, but would you consider selling any of your products so you don't have to move it?
No.
Like when you're talking about those sequels that you don't really like, but you own them anyway, like there might be a market for that. You'd keep it anyway.
I mean, there might, but right now I have the collection to where it is. And right now I have
Yeah.
a pretty complete Disney collection.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even show you these. I don't know if these were in the photos that I posted online or not. But like I imported that Disney box set in the back from the UK because it was so cool.
Yeah. No, I don't think they are in the photos, but there's some good stuff. They're your steel books, are they? Some of those.
These are my steelbooks. Yeah, this is my
Yeah,
steelbook
yeah.
section. I do keep them separate from. Well, not entirely though. Like some of the steelbooks I've mixed back in because I have my
Okay.
the Disney TV series from Disney Plus and stuff that they started releasing.
Oh, yeah.
These
I
may
like.
look like they're not there. They have been opened. I just happen to have them in sealed plastic cases.
Yep. No, I do that with my steel books as well.
Because that's
Well, most
honestly
of
too
them.
much money to invest not to protect.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And they can rust too. They get little rust bites.
With the Disney treasures, but they are really tin. Got this weird black patina that comes on the sides that I don't like.
Oh, yeah. No, I noticed that as well. Well, I think you've kind of answered every other question I would have just naturally would have what I was going to ask you. So that might wrap it up. Is there anywhere that you want to? Do you have anything that you'd want to send our listeners to check you out? Do you have an Instagram or anything? Or
I mean, so I do have Instagram, but I don't use it a lot because I get annoyed at the 10 picture thing and then having to resize everything. So I tend to use Facebook more because
hmm
I'm also 45 and I'm in an area that's a few years back behind everybody else. So everybody in this area is still very Facebook friendly. So I
okay,
have 1,700 people on it.
wow,
So I am there. I'm easy accessible. I've just never been. Like I told you a little earlier. I'm I'm right at the age where I don't know how to do a lot on electronic media
yeah,
stuff without
yep,
help. On the other hand, I'm not so old that I oppose it because it's really
mm,
just a matter of time. Like I have a friend that bugs me about all the time to go on TikTok, and I'm like, no. So I don't know. He has an idea that he would love to put my collection on TikTok at some point. I don't know if he will do that or not
yeah.
before I end up.
I mean, you could
But
monetize
you know,
that. I know you get money in America for TikTok, and there's a massive community, the physical media community. Like it's surprisingly big. So yeah, you could get. I mean,
I mean,
it,
it's an interesting concept. It's just not something I'm as familiar with. Like I don't use
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah.
Honestly, I don't use YouTube because I always feel like the quality is so low, and I get
Oh, really?
frustrated.
Oh, really?
So like,
That's interesting.
I'm a quality snob. Like I can't sit down and watch the Blair
Yeah,
Witch Project. It drives me crazy, and the shaky cam's worse. I'm kind of a snob when it comes to that. I like actually good quality footage, and you don't get that on YouTube. I like the fact that people will upload old TV movies and TV shows that are not available easily.
yeah, yeah,
But then when you go to try to get them and snag them off there to keep them on DVD, the quality is actually worse than the VHS tape. And I'm told it's
ah,
because that they shrink down the file size.
yeah. They would absolutely. They would be massively
So I can't
compressed.
even capture the missing stuff. So as soon as it gets removed for copyright infringement,
Yeah,
which it likely will, it's not
it's
really
gone.
keepable or in a permanent. So I don't view it as it's nice if you're only casually looking, but I know
hmm
damn well when I go to casually look, it's going to be stuff I want to keep. So it makes it
Yeah,
just more difficult for me.
yeah.
I think
No,
it's my
that's fair.
outlook.
So, I mean, you
Um,
talk about being a quality snob. I didn't really discuss. I mean, because you seem like you have a lot of DVDs as well, but so when you say quality, do you kind of
I'm
seek
talking about the
4K
way
now?
I
Sorry.
have some in 4K. I have some 4K. I have Blu-ray. I
Yep.
have DVD.
Okay.
But new stuff as it comes out, I'm finding 4K is just easier to find. Like
Oh, wow.
4K, if it's getting released, like if I buy
Yeah.
a steelbook, it's automatically a 4K pretty much
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that seems to be where a lot of the majority stuff. Or if I buy something from like Kino Lorber or a boutique, it's almost always 4K or at least Blu-ray.
Yes. Yep.
Older titles, I'm not so quick to jump up on if I've already spent the money once on,
hmm
unless it's something I need. But when I talk about quality, I'm talking about the way it's filmed. So
Yeah. I gotcha.
so if we compare, you go back to pull and I hate to keep doing it. I'm going to pull a Disney
Mhm.
Channel reference. You go back to the 90s, say Spellbinder. You've seen that. You
Yep.
see the type of quality it is.
Yep.
Now you're going to compare that to an episode of Wizards of Waverly Place or Hannah Montana.
Okay. Yeah.
You see how the camera changes, the
The
sets
soap
change,
opera
the
effect
money,
and
like they're trying to produce television for a much cheaper price tag, and it starts
yeah.
to get shaky and it looks cheap. It looks like a soap set or worse.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
then you get into stuff that looks like reality shows, and I hate that. I
Mm.
hate shaky cam with a passion. I usually get sick
Yeah.
from it. It drives me
Yes.
nuts. So, like there's like some kind of a paranormal activity. Or is that the series of movies that are all just shaky cam? It was like I could never watch.
I don't think Paranormal's shaky. I've only seen the first one of that, but I thought the camera was just static, wasn't it, in their
It.
bedroom? I don't know.
Okay, so I
You-
don't know which one it was. I know that there's a series of horror movies that's pretty much done with shaky cam, and I'm like,
Is it
no,
Cloverfield type of thing?
like put money into it. Give me an actual
Hmm.
production value.
Cam was a trend for a while there. I think thanks to there was a TV show, Dennis Franz. What was that show? The
Dennis Frank, like
you know
Hill
the
Street
cop was
Blues.
no, no, it was after that. It was a cop show. It had Dennis Franz, Jimmy Smits. Was it?
Okay, I must not have watched it, I'm
My dad
assuming.
used to watch it, but that was like shaky cam, and then Doug Lyman used it for the Bourne movies and that as well, and then it became a
Gotcha.
trend, right? So, yeah,
And then the reality show, like I thought it was a fun idea when I watched that movie. Yep, that was the movie where they followed him around for 24 hours with a camera. And I thought that's a fun idea. And then within a year, they were making reality shows.
is that like Ed TV? Yeah,
Yes, Ed TV, and there was another one at the same
yeah.
time. They both came out virtually almost together. It must have been
Well, Ed TV
1999.
and Ed TV and Truman Show were pretty close together.
Yep, there they are. That's the
Yeah,
two.
yeah,
And all of a sudden, you had Survivor, and then it just
yeah,
tumbled downhill
yeah.
from there. And I'm like, I
Yes.
hate the world that we live in now. It's so
That's the
terrible.
thing, is the success of Survivor, and then they bring out the Kardashians, and then that leaks into the Real Housewives, which leaks into those real estate shows now, where it's not even about the real estate; it's about how hot the realtors are. Like it's ridiculous.
Oh, and about those shows, oh yes, please let me pick out a house for $1 million. Who has $1 million to spend on a house?
Yeah. Well, some of the stuff, and I don't really watch those shows, but I see them through. I don't think you have this show in America. It's called Gogglebox. Have
Hold
you
on,
heard
let me
of
look at that.
Gogglebox? Okay,
I'm not.
it's a UK show. I started in the UK, and there's an Australian series as well. But basically, it's like you're watching just regular people, families, mates who live together. They're sitting on a couch and they're watching the week's TV, and they commentate on it as so they have their opinion. So they're watching the reality shows and all that bullshit network TV that you don't have to, because they're watching it. So you watch them watch TV, and it sounds weird,
Oh, that's
but
weird.
it's amazing. Like it was on for years, and I was like, "That's crap. There's no way I'm watching that. It's going to be the worst." And then I watched it. My daughter wanted to watch it. I watched an episode, and I was hooked. It is so
Oh,
good
no.
because you get to know the people that watch the show, and you get to like them as characters. And it's edited really funny. It's narrated. It's funny as shit. And they just kind of take the piss out of what they're seeing on TV, like, and they're commentating on how ridiculous it is. Like they're watching those reality shows, and these people are fucking mess. Like
Oh my
it's
God.
great. I don't know if you get, right, you probably wouldn't want to watch it on YouTube, but it's a really
I might
interesting
have to go
show.
look it up, but just
It's
to experience it.
it's a very what's the phrase? What's the phrase? I can't, like a,
Voyeurism?
yeah, no, it's not like a dirty, not dirty secret,
No,
but one of
well,
those,
not dirty,
guilty pleasure, a
but
guilty
like,
pleasure.
oh, okay,
It's one of my
fair.
guilty pleasures. I don't watch network TV, but that's pretty much one of the two shows I do watch, and it's just a
So,
good
like,
guilty
my
pleasure.
ex-wife convinced me to watch Desperate Housewives once
Ah,
because
yeah, yeah,
I don't know, we were between. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a reality show, and
yeah.
I fought her on it. And she's like, "You need to just watch it." And I was like, "No, I'm not watching this." I watched one episode and got horribly hooked.
Yeah, yeah,
It was, it was
yeah,
like, and Mark Cherry is already a writer that I like because he did the Five Mrs. Buchanans, and I didn't
yep.
even realize he was involved. And the Five Mrs.
Oh,
Buchanan.
yeah, yeah.
So, and of course, the Golden Girls. I like the Golden Girls. I like Golden
Yes,
Palace. So,
that
yeah, he
was
was already.
that was
That
really
was what
interesting from about Mark Cherry, Mark.
Mark Cherry. Yeah,
Yeah, it was really, because I remember, because I watched Desperate Housewives with my ex-wife, and it was just something that we were able to watch together because we were very different people, and that's why she's an ex, I suppose, now. And but I remember, because it was such a big film in the zeitgeist and in the pop culture at the time, that an interview with, he was basically homeless until he sold this show. Like he said, he was pretty much out in the
yeah.
streets. He had no money, he had no nothing, and he, yeah, created the show and finally got to sell it. And then obviously he's probably rich as shit now. So yeah, but good for him.
Oh yeah, he's gotta be.
Mm.
But if you ever can find them, go back and watch the Five Mrs. Buchanans if you haven't seen it
Yeah.
because it was a great show from the mid '90s, and
Hmm.
some of the actors actually went over into Desperate Housewives because
Oh,
he worked
okay.
for the same people.
Ah, I
And
love
it's a
that.
really fun show. They're half hour long. I think it lasted one season. 20, I think it's
Okay.
23 episodes. Like it wasn't a long show, but it was a fun show.
Right.
Really, my ex-wife also got me to watch a soap once too. Passions. It had Juliet Mills.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I love Haley Mills. Obviously, I've talked about The Parent Trap. So Juliet Mills was in Nan and the Professor. I knew who she was, and I'd be
Hmm.
playing on the computer, and she would be watching this, and I would suddenly be like, "That's Juliet Mills," and I'd turn around and watch it for a few minutes, and then I would turn back around and continue on the computer. Well, this goes by for a few weeks, and all of a sudden, I knew plot lines and what was going on, and I'm like, "Oh my god, you got me to watch a fucking soap! What did you do to me?"
Yeah.
Like I watched all the way to the end of the series because I was super hooked. And then they would have fun things like Dr. Bombay from Bewitched would pop up, or Genie
Oh, yep.
from I Dream of Genie would pop up.
Yeah, yeah.
And they would have all these classic TV tie-ins, and I'm like, you're just really just trying to feed me this. It's very bad.
Yeah, subs can do that for you or to you. Uh,
I mean, the
yeah.
only other one I ever did was Dark Shadows, but Dark
Oh,
Shadows
yeah.
was vampires and cool.
You have a box set of that. Did I see a box set of that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the original series, and then I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the remake series from the '90s.
Oh, okay. Wow. And then they made a terrible movie with Johnny Depp, right?
Yeah, they did, and it was Tim Burton too.
Yeah.
I mean, it had Ava Green. I do like Ava Green, but not the point.
I was going to mention when you were talking about Tim Burton, because I've got some good friends who actually host a podcast called Franchise Paradiso, and they recently did a Tim Burton retrospective. So they talk about franchise genres, and then but for this one they do special episodes, and it was about basically ranking Tim Burton episodes. So they all come up with their favorites and they talk about them. Then they create a top 10 list and determine the 10 best Tim Burton films. So that would probably interest you if you listen to podcasts.
I might look that up. Did you
Yeah.
watch Miss Peregrine? Did you see that?
Miss Peregrine? Yeah, I did. I remember kind of liking that. I thought it was okay.
So when I watched the movie, and I'm a really big stickler for plot points.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I like Tim Burton, so I already liked the style. And what he did with the ship was kind of like his own dark version of Titanic, which also pleased me on lots of
Yeah.
levels. So the movie I've watched, when I saw it once, I had to show it to everybody. So I saw it a lot of times in a row. And
Mhm.
every time I notice with time travel movies, there's usually some kind of flaw. Usually you can catch a flaw, not
Yeah.
always, but
Yeah.
but that movie was so complicated that and every time you rewatch it, it doesn't have a flaw, and it drives me crazy. And I keep watching it now. I'll rewatch it just to see if I can catch the flaw this time. And I haven't. And it's really solidly done, and it even has a little nod
Yeah.
to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure at the end. Like like
Interesting.
I find the movie to be very like it's right up my alley. It's very
Yeah.
much like if Tim Burton has a resume, everything he's ever done is in this movie. Like
Yeah. Okay.
he has every bit of every type of filming he's done. And like and the house is beautiful, and even like when they're bombing, the way they did the whole dropping of the bombs, it's really lovely to see. It's just very pretty. And then the story is fun, and I'm just like I keep looking for the flaw, and it's just a time travel movie that doesn't have that it works so well, and it bugs me.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I must have watched it long enough ago that it's not. I haven't logged in on Letterboxd, so it must have
It
been
was
at
like
least 4
2016.
years. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
think it was
probably been at least 4
2016.
years since I've seen it, and I remember thinking, yeah, it's pretty good. I probably watched it with my son actually. He would have been what, maybe 12 or 13 when I watched it with him then. So yeah, that makes sense.
And I did get to see the Beetlejuice 2 being made, because that was done an
Oh,
hour from
oh,
my home.
really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was filmed in Corinth, Vermont.
So did you
So
go down to
like
the set?
I did, and it was
Oh, yeah.
wonderful, even though you really couldn't get close.
Can't blame you.
But it was. I mean, I lived too close not to try. Like that's
Yeah, of
just
course.
like
Did you
that.
like the movie? Did you like it?
So on initial watch, I liked it. Going back and seeing subsequent watches, I keep seeing flaws, and once I see the
Okay.
flaws, it's hard to undo. I don't know if you've
Right.
seen the flaws in it or not.
I
Um,
saw it in the cinema and I was surprised how much I liked it. And I'm not real good on picking up those things. If I pick up a bad plot point, then it's kind of like it is a bad one, because I'm more about a vibe and a tone of a movie rather than I don't pick
I
up.
If I don't think about it too hard, the movie is a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I really loved the entire cake scene. I don't know why, I just did.
I can't even remember that. And this is how bad my memory is with movies, because I watch so many, like they just wash each
Yeah.
other out all the time. And that's why I need to rewatch stuff. Because it's kind of like a first watch almost every time now. Because I watch at least 600 movies a year. So that was one thing I wanted to ask you. Do you know how many you watch a year? Because I know you have
Never,
Letterboxd, but
I've never clocked it.
okay, so you
I'd
don't.
be interested. Well, we're right here at the beginning of the year. I should actually do that just to see.
Yeah, yeah.
Does it
That's
count for repeat viewings when you do yours if you see them repeatedly?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can mark them as if I've seen it before, but I mean, if you've logged it on Letterboxd already, it'll actually automatically say you've watched it again. So I like this I'm a statistics nerd as well because of sports and whatnot.
Fair.
So this keeps your stats very well as well if you're a member. And again, like I said, with my memory, it's good just to diarize the fact that, I watched a few movies yesterday, and without having Letterboxd, I wouldn't remember what the hell I watched yesterday, which is weird. I'd have to sit and think, what did I watch yesterday? So, but now,
I mean, right at the beginning of the year, it's such a great concept. I think I might actually try that. While I'm
yeah,
thinking of it too, did you get to see the movie Across the River and into the Woods, or no, Across the River and Into the Trees?
never heard of it.
It's an Ernest Hemingway novel
Okay, no, never.
that they made into a movie, and I had to drive
Okay,
3.5 hours to go see any place that was airing it.
is that a
Um,
recent release though?
so
Oh.
in the U.S., it got released this year. In the UK, it got released 2 years ago, but they were trying to find a distributor.
Oh, really? Across the river?
It's Across the River, and I think it's Across the River and Into the Trees.
Sorry,
I think it's got Liv Schreiber.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, Across the River. Yeah, 2022. Yeah. No, I haven't gotten to see that yet.
It's a
Josh
really good
Hutcherson
film,
is.
but it came to streaming, but they haven't released a physical copy. It's not up for screeners anywhere. It's not up for awards. I'm kind of frustrated on this title. I couldn't even find anybody that's making DVDs of it. I imported a copy from Spain, but
Oh,
the
okay.
Spain one doesn't has an English track, but there's some parts that are only in Italian and you can't hear it.
There's no
I mean,
subtitles in.
I can't understand it. You can hear the Italian just fine. I just don't
Yeah,
speak
yeah.
Italian.
No subtitles.
No subtitles. And
Um,
I was hoping for because when I saw it in the theater here, it was
mm,
fine. Like
yeah.
I could understand it from stem to stern. So
Have you?
I was just curious if you've seen it because it's a very good movie.
No, it's not. It's not available on any streamers here either. So, I mean, I'd watch that purely for the fact I like Josh Hutcherson, which is probably weird to say because not many people would say that. I
Same.
mean, not that he's bad, but he's just not someone that
Right.
people think of.
So yeah, I can understand that. But yeah,
I
the
mean,
movie's brilliant. I really liked it. It was
yeah,
it's what I was supposed. I
I'll
just
keep that in
didn't
mind.
know. Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, I had a similar problem once. I brought a. Have you heard of Celine Sciamma? She's a French writer, director. She did Portrait of a Lady on Fire and Petite Maman and stuff like that. So I actually brought a box set. I imported a box set of her films from the UK. But this UK site actually do some drop shipping and it's actually a German edition. So it came here and it's all spoken in French, all of her movies, but the only subtitles were German. I'm like, well, this is no good to me. I barely speak English well enough. So I had to actually unsold it and someone brought it off me, which was great. So, yeah.
That's awesome, but it would still be nice to see the full movie the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, I've had to buy them separately because there's movies in there that you can't get in Australia in single format. So which is a bit sad, but whatever. I miss out, I guess. So, yeah. I should wrap up the show at this point, to be honest. So, look,
Fair.
Richard, I really thank you for being on the show. It's been a really good chat. Really enjoyed getting to know you and getting to know your collection as well. And again, thanks for the short notice and saying, yeah, let's do it. So I really appreciate it.
This has been a lot of fun, so I'm really glad that we did.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you. I'll talk movies all day, any day to anyone. So yeah.
So will I. It's a problem.
Yeah. Well, look, happy to look at some point, meet up again at some point, and maybe once you've got your move done and have another catch up and see how your collection's going. Actually, that'd be
a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely do that. I think that would be a lot of fun. Definitely count me in.
Yeah, well, we're friends on Facebook now, so we'll definitely keep in touch some way down the line. So I'll keep an eye out for your posts as well. To our listeners, thank you for listening and tuning in, and I hope you got to learn a bit there from Richard. If you want to see the pictures of Richard's amazing, insanely amazing collection, check out my Instagram. It's KerbSide_collections, and just remember this. KerbSide Collections is a member of the SPDM crew and available wherever you get your podcasts. If you've enjoyed this episode, send me a DM slip into my DMs and I can try and organise to get you on the show. I'd love to have you on and learn about your collection too and talk about all things movies and physical media. Until next time, thanks for listening.